And we are semi kind of live. What's going on? Iron Lords Podcast, lordsgaming.net, and it is here. It is time to enter the Starfield. Long awaited impressions. And this is a big one. This is a big one. Shout out to Bethesda Games, obviously, that provided us the code to actually cover this. And we're going to start off with the Lords. It'll be very informal introductions on my return from hospitalization. So this is my first record, but let's start with my co-host, Lord Addict, super producer in the background. How we doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. We got a pretty sizable amount of content for you guys to over Starfield. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Now there are stipulations. We can't go into some of the story aspects. Obviously, we don't want to spoil the game for you guys anyway. And I just want to get this out of the way. Thank you, Bethesda, for providing us with a code, because I know, like, legally we have to say that. So
Fair enough. Getting all the dots, down and the T's crossed, no doubt. And of course, my brethren, the Sostradamus, Lord Sovereign. How we doing, sir? Good to see you, brother.
I am good. It's very good to see you. Very good to see you back at it again. Unfortunately, you have to jump right back into the saddle so quickly, but just glad to see you just looking energetic and back to yourself. So, and excited to be here, because usually I can't be part of these things because I usually don't have the time to be able to, play a game in depth like this. So I was fortunate to be off, and fortunate that we were blessed to be, with multiple codes. So I think this is cool, because we're going to have a lot of different perspectives on this game, which is, I don't know, a lot of places are going to have that. So
Very true.
very happy to be here.
No doubt. And the new host of Iron Lords Podcast,
Yeah, anyway.
holding it down. Like, I was not needed. It felt so good. I was like, oh, I'm so proud. I'm so proud. Lord King David, the host with the most. Good to see you, brother. And thank you for coming to see me and sending well wishes.
I was definitely going there. Regardless to what, I really didn't care. I don't know. There's just certain things that that you have to do, so you make no excuses. So whatever I had planned for the day was not even. It wasn't even a factor, But I was getting up there, and I'm glad I did get there, because I don't know. I came in with super positive energy that you will be leaving within the weekend. And when I got in there, she was just like, "Yo, let me take the stuff off of you," and I'm like, "Oh, this is dope." And then we don't really get a chance to build, because you're in New Jersey, so we got a chance to actually build on some stuff and get prepared for this week. But kind of sucks that you get home and then you're right back into this, and then tomorrow we got something.
But this is what I live for. I made it for this moment. This is for the moment to
That
get the
is
God's
true.
power into creation.
This is ridiculous.
The man was basically arguing with the doctors. You're letting me out. You
Let me out there.
you were sorely missed on Sunday, and I mean, it's selfish. That part of me is selfish, because I had to be under control. I had to be corporate king and run a show, and don't go too far off, because there was nobody to be like, "Hey, come in," and Attic, you'd be like, "Go, just go crazy," and Sovereign would be like, and Forte would sit there like, "I don't know, I can't stop him." So I was like, we didn't have our kid and play thing, and I really had something like set up for the PlayStation Bungle. But this is the first time I got a review code, and this was like huge for me, because when review codes do come up, I usually be like, "Nah, I don't want to have that. Just send that to the website. Let those guys get what they're gonna get." And this felt really special that I was able to partake in it, because we're talking behind the scenes. And actually, this is the first game I hunkered down in and was taking notes, like, on certain things. And I can't wait to peel back this onion, because it is a huge onion, pause. But I can't wait to peel it back. So thank you, Bethesda, for handing out 4 codes, which is kind of different. Normally, people only get like 1 or 2 or something like that. So I really appreciate the fact that I was able to be involved in this. So
No doubt. And of course, to round out the ILP, we have our man, lordsofgaming.net's own Nicholas Downey in the building. I'm still going to call you Undead. I don't care. Senior, and first of all, senior editor, assistant chief, editor-in-chief, the man wears so many hats and is definitely the lifeblood of the site. Some of the best reviews, always
I've
quality
hosted
work.
them.
Yes. And from a former affiliate from other places that we always work with together. But it's good to be able to do this with you. How are we doing, Nicholas Downey?
We hanging in there. We hanging in there. I've been up since 4:30 in the morning. These California storms have work going crazy. So I am tired, but I am, it was 13, 14-hour days at work and then coming home and playing Starfield and
Wow.
sleeping for 4 hours. And it's been a hell of a week, but it's glad to see you so flush with life. And ILP was definitely classic with King running it.
Yes.
And I definitely enjoyed it. And it definitely threw back to some of the older episodes you guys used to have.
Yeah.
And I love the energy.
The older, less professional episodes. Is that what you're trying to say?
No. Son was professional, so I got to give it up to him. I've been in the he.
Oh no, I don't
that.
mean King. I just mean the production.
Oh, the production in general.
I don't mean King.
Yeah, because what was nuts is everything got peeled back. Like
Yeah.
we didn't have the overlay, we didn't have all the other stuff,
and it was just us. It's like
it was just us. It was just like, ha ha.
It is as we are now. So let's get to it. The audience they're impatient. They
we don't want to hear about you guys.
we don't hear about your life. We don't hear about your life.
Give me death.
We want to hear. Look, this is a game that has been in creation for a long time with God Howard and the team and Bethesda, and obviously, this is the one. This is a huge Xbox exclusive. So I'm gonna hand it over to our co-host Addict as far as setting us up and how you want to approach it. It's so many layers to this game, so many different ways we can start and approach. So Addict, let you set this thing up, man. He's muted.
Yeah, you're muted, sir.
I have broke this up into small things. I'm scared of the static, so I'm trying to stay muted. Okay.
Nah, you
I
good.
have broke
Go
this
for it.
up into a variety of things that we're going to go over. Starfield is definitely, that massive game that we've been waiting for a while. There are some things that I want to be sure that we go over in particular, especially character development. Space combat's something new for Bethesda, so I want to really focus on that as well. And, and I want to go over the combat in general because I feel like, hand-to-hand, guns, it's always been something different that they've always used, and I want to go into that as well. Then obviously, we're going to pivot. This is ILP. We're notorious for pivoting. So, first thing I want to go over to is the character development. I want to really break this down because, one thing that is unique about ILPs, we all come from different backgrounds. So I feel like when we make a character, we're going to make characters differently. And obviously we got some darker members that are very particular on how some of the hair is done and stuff. And I want
some chocolate
members. So I want because particularly with that, I know that a lot of characters and a lot of developers don't do black hairstyles good or anything. Mm-hmm. So I want to really go into that too because I want to make sure you guys were done right.
They always get my hairstyle
right. All right, so let's start with King. When you was making your character, could you make a King in Starfield?
My wife hates my character, right? Because she comes downstairs, she goes, "Oh, that's not it. Can you redo him?" And I'm like 30, 40 hours in. I don't know. It's probably a customization on the planet where I could work at it.
There is.
I was sitting there, I was trying to do certain things.
Enhance.
You're able to do a whole bunch of things, right? And I didn't worry about the enhancement part, buddy. What I was worrying about is, getting the face right. Got it absolutely wrong. And my guy looks kind of crazy. Get the build right. But there was so many different options. And I was so eager to jump in. I really didn't care what I made. And I made the character, but it got close to what I wanted. It was just the level of customization. And I played a lot of Bethesda games and, they fall out and everything. This game, it was just a little bit more when it came to the characters. It's current gen Bethesda, what we come to expect. And I've become desensitized to all the options that are afforded to us. Because normally when you go into a game, this level of options isn't there. So I have to go back to other games that are RPGs just to gauge how far ahead this game is. And I'm not being or not taking for granted the options, right? So I went back to a couple of other games, RPGs that actually let you customize your character, and I saw how limited in scope they were compared to this game. So that was my barometer there. So I was like, okay, so this game really allows you to craft your character in a unique way that you can make the character your own in every aspect of the character. And I walked away with it saying that the customization is fine. Now, my wife may not like my character. I was cool with it after I finished. And I said, you know what? I do got to go back in and tweak them up. Maybe if I, make another character, if I can't, fix them. But I heard that there's a place on the planet that I can fix a face or something like that. And I'm going to go in and do that. But no, other than that, I mean, to be honest with you, I just really wanted to get into the game. And when I was just like picking face, and it was like all these faces, and then I can work with the eyebrows and work with the eyes and space them out and do all this stuff. Yeah, it became a bit much, and I was just like, "Let me get my guy."
You know
get
what's
out of
funny?
here.
When you said fix your face, the only thing I could see is that part in Rush Hour, Chris Tucker, and he throws the thing on. He's like, "Fix your face."
But no, and the colors, shades. Attic may have joked about it, but going in, a lot of times companies don't get skin tones right for darker colors.
Yeah, Kid Smooth says it's either like you're light black or you're black. Like there's no in between.
we had melanin options. He was lit.
Usually, either you are this or kind of looking like gold or something in bronze. But now, shout out to Bethesda. I think they had people on the team that were cognizant and understanding that the black representation, and just not even the brown representation, the Latino representation, the mixed culture. I saw a lot of mixed characters that was there, right? So they took in account of everything, and they brought it forth. I gotta take my hat off to them.
Yeah, that's why I was saying like IOP, like we're a very diverse group, and we legit have different backgrounds.
Yeah, for real.
We jumping in.
Carl, let's go with you, man. What was your opinions on this? How did you go in there thinking? Did you get you a call going on there, or are you looking extra spicy and beefy?
They had as much beef as far as the build options from an athletic standpoint that I could maximize. I thought it was cool. Obviously you have the standard walk animations, how you can change that. Pronouns were in the game, so they were very cognizant of everybody's preference, which I thought was really cool. I agree with King, as far as skin tones, complexions, plushes, like all these different pigmentations of skin and the way you can edit it, I thought was pretty interesting. I almost like King, I was almost overwhelmed. It was almost too much at one point, and I was just like, okay, I want to get to my character, but I do want to shout them out on hairstyles. I did see a couple of hairstyles that I was like, okay, we got some good representation there. And like I usually go pretty simple, mustache, gold, and that's it. Keep it light and clean. I want to give them credit though, because this is something I found out. I know we'll talk later. Is when playing the game, one of the mistakes I made was I'm running around like an idiot with my suit on all day. Like I'm running around. So I didn't have an appreciation for the character I made because, you got the helmet on, whatever. So there were some options that I missed that said, okay, if you're in settlements, take your helmet off or take your spacesuit off. And then I got my undersuit on. And sometimes you can have your little cap or your beanie or your bald head, or you've got any little augments or whatever it is you got going on. And I thought that really immersed me. And the last thing I will say as far as character creation that I thought was really cool is I was a person that really started this game off in FPS and almost was playing FPS exclusively. And when I went to that mode of third person and I saw my character, I almost had to stay that way. And y'all know I'm a just one dude. So I didn't anticipate me liking Starfield in that way. So I would say 25% of the first 30% of my playthrough was all FPS. But once I figured out those options, it really made me immersed into my character in the world. So I thought they did a solid job. My meaty nitpick is, a little bizarre would appreciate a little Bethesda old stew hair texture energy.
Textures, not
Yeah,
moving.
yeah, like if you got a crowd,
Very
it's gonna-
stiff hair.
very stiff. Like you can still see some remnants of the creation
It's like-
engine, and you go, yeah.
It's like the
yeah,
only
you know,
movement you see is when you switch to it. It moves like slightly just because it's
Yeah,
switching to it.
exactly. So I got a nitpick on that part there, but other than that, I thought overall it was improvement and a lot of good facial animation for specific characters. But that was me.
Yeah, so I think, go ahead and speak on mine real quick. I'm going to be real with you guys. I never care what I look like. I usually just hit the randomizer like 5 or 6 times. Oh, that looks cool. And then just rock with that. The only time that I ever like go into is like scars. Like I'm a big thing. Like I want the scars to be right. I want the beard to be right and the hair color. Everything else, I don't care. Most of the time, especially like I always laugh when they let me do it in stuff like Demon Souls and Dark Souls. It's like, dude, I got armor on the whole game. I don't even, I forgot I was an EXO in Destiny for years. It's one of those things I don't care. I don't, but I know that's really important to some people. Like I've seen Cog sit in like a character customization screen for like 2 hours before. Yeah. So Solve, how much do you care about this stuff? Do you care, or are you just like, if you get it, you get it. You don't, you don't. What's on with you with Starfield?
I don't 2 hours care, but I care enough.
That might have been exaggeration a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, but I can see people doing that, right? You try to get into the minutia. What I like about this character creator is that you can go simple with it, or you can go more detailed with it, because what they do is they give you general options, like when this nose size, this sort of nose, if there's a bend here, there's a bend there, whatever. Same for ears, same for lips, or whatever. They give you general sort of archetypes, right? And then within that archetype, you can sort of move things around and scale it to how you really want. So if you want that level of detail, is there. If you don't, it doesn't force it upon you. You can just kind of be in a general sort of direction when you're trying to make yourself. And that's for me. I always try to kind of make myself. So did I succeed? No, I did not succeed. I look like Puerto Rican Chris Daughtry, I think is what I look like. so it's like Chris Daughtry with like a little bit of color to him. You know what I mean? It's good enough.
Question, like, obviously, do you think you can make an Hispanic person well on there, or do you think like just because you didn't care, if you took the time, you think you could do it better? Like, did they represent your people right? That's what I want to know. So
all about representation.
It's all about representation. But I think to Cog's point, you still have a little bit of that old creation and stuff where it's like, well, the hair isn't going to be very dynamic. It's not going to be very flowing. You're not going to. So even if they try to create a texture, it doesn't look super right. It's better than before. Like when you look at a Fallout 4, or you look at a Skyrim, it is better. But it's still not that where you can really feel the texture. And I'm running on a pretty high-end machine. That doesn't improve it at all. That is not giving me better textures in that regard.
PC talk again.
But I will say this: there are NPCs, and there are some real story-oriented NPCs in the game that look very good.
Yes,
I've seen African American NPCs that look very good.
Did you see someone made Todd Howard look just like Todd Howard?
Somebody made Paris.
Yeah, there's a character there.
That he basically looks like Paris.
Yeah. I was like, I was gonna call the whole counter. I was like, yo, you did the mocap. Where
you got a bag? You got a bag?
That's for real.
But yeah, I enjoyed it, but I was in there maybe 15 minutes to try to get something in the realm of what I look like, and that was it. I moved on.
I spent more time on the traits than I did on the way how my
it took me a while, right? Yeah. And so I did all that, all the physical stuff. Then I went into the traits, and I guess we'll talk about the traits a little bit later. So yeah, but the physical stuff, I got an approximation, and I was okay with that.
No. Nick, what's going on, bro? What character creation? Like, how you feeling? What was your journey like in Starfield?
Could you make us white people in it?
Well, listen. Here's the thing: when you're the Control C, Control V in every Ubisoft game,
You just
it's
copy and
really
paste.
easy.
I'm sure a lot of people didn't get that. That's why I had to say that.
Yeah, that's good.
But it's one of those things. Like I've been making myself in games for years. Like I am a stereotypical 6'5", 300-pound white dude with a beard. Okay, like it is plain and simple to make myself.
You
in
could throw a
game.
dart and find us. Like,
Yeah, like honestly, like what Addict was saying about hitting the randomizer. You hit the randomizer, you're gonna get me about 3 rolls in. Okay. But what I appreciate about that is that it includes everybody. Everybody should be representative in a character creator because it's a role-playing game. And how are you supposed to get into a character that you don't identify with? So having everybody be able to participate and enjoy it and not have to spend the entire game looking like a 2008 PS3, Xbox 360 white, angry, bald protagonist is fantastic. And I think what I liked about the rollover from that is not only do you have the character creator for that, you have the diversity of the people in space as well. Like you go through any of these space stations, there's such a diverse group of people throughout the space center. It's like it's space. You're going to see aliens. You're going to see, colored people. You're going to see Hispanics. You're going to see whites. You're going to see anything and all in between. And I feel like nobody was done dirty or janky in the whole representation. I never looked at a character model and went, that's bad. But yeah, no, I think character creator was really in depth. I really appreciated how in depth it was. I'm definitely not one of those people that spends 2 hours in the character creator. Like I want to get into the game, so it's like maybe 10 minutes. But like I said, for me, it's like shave sides of the hair, spike the hair up, throw a beard on it, make it tall and kind of beefy looking, and call it a day. So
little does the chat know we have a game. How many times someone can say beefy in this podcast?
Now,
records.
Now to be we got to be clear. This is there are no humanoid characters, right? Everybody's is human-esque. You can have different features, exaggerated features, but maybe maybe somebody assuming because it's a space game or whatever, you're gonna have you can create weird alien species or whatnot. Everybody's a human-esque creature.
The way it was described to me is like if you compare this to something like Mass Effect, this was taking place like right when we started learning how to travel. So we haven't really came across anything crazy. Let's move on to the backgrounds. There's over 20 traits in this game, and they are crazy, some of these traits. And what I want to ask you guys is, first off, which traits did you pick? And I want to know if those traits impacted the gameplay in any way, shape, or form doing anything in this game. Let's start with Saul, because I know those traits. You asked me a couple questions on those traits.
Yeah, so for me, I went with the general Ronin class, right? I was like, I don't want to be beholden to anybody, whatever. But again, these things, what they do is that they give you initial traits, right? That you sort of can build off of, but you can still deviate completely from them and do something completely different. So with the Ronin class, what I decided to do is I'm the type of player. You'll find out during this podcast that the moment you say go, I'm gonna go do what I feel like doing, and for me that is raping and pillaging planets of their natural resources.
Planets, y'all.
Planets.
You can't use the R word, sir.
Yes, we're all about the planet pillaging.
Yeah, the planets,
pillaging of planets of their natural resources and stealing and unlocking whatever I could get my hands on.
We was almost out of here.
You can say it in conjunction with pillaging. You know what it means.
And I want to add on to this. Obviously, the people on the panel were no stranger to Bethesda style games. Would you say this is the best type of system they've had in terms of making the type of character that you walk around and do, or do you think that there's some things that they did better in other Bethesda games?
I think one of the things I always look for immediately is if one of the traits that I picked out really comes to life when I'm playing, right? And one particular one that I picked was heavy into stealth, right? I wanted to see what the stealth gameplay was like. And I went into it, and what was disappointing was, once again, I didn't see any sort of specific animations for stealth kills. It's very still janky. You roll up behind somebody, you stab them, and you have a thrust stab that you could do with you clicking in the right stick, and then you have just the regular slashes. And if you have a weapon that has a specific sort of attribute where it's like, oh, if you stab a lot, it will speed up or something like that, or certain like if you hurt them X amount of times, it'll like things will show a little bit differently, but there are no specific kill animations for stealth. So that bothered me a little bit. Now, one thing I did notice is with that stealth, when I equip certain things, like there's a helmet that I equipped, and because of my stealth attribute, when I crouch down and don't move, I blend in with the environment.
The chameleon.
Ooh.
The chameleon.
The chameleon.
The chameleon. So
Yeah,
I
that's
just,
why I'm
and I was like,
laughing.
oh,
So,
and then you get it to the point, like initially you can't move, right? And you're invisible. And then you can get it to the point where you just move slowly and you're still mixing in. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I blended in with whatever the environment was. And I was like, okay, this is what I want to see. Because a lot of times in RPGs, right, you'll have all these stats and these traits, but the traits don't show on the character, right?
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you said, Cog. I played the first 2 days of this game in first person. When I jumped out the third, because Bethesda games, you always know the third person is always an afterthought. I was like, nah, it feels janky. It feels kind of like a mannequin. I'm playing full on third person mode.
You guys are crazy. You guys are crazy.
Yeah.
The only time I ever went to third person if I was in a rough ship battle and I was like, I got to see where these people are. That's the only time there were some times where I was facing like 5 or 6 ships. I would go into photo mode just to get an idea of where they're at. Like I would go into photo mode. I'll sit there. Okay, this dude's above me. This dude's to the left of me. Okay, there's no one below me. That's where I'm going. Like,
You'll love when we get to the ship stuff.
I'm going to lean on you because what I'm learning is, not to interrupt, is that how Addict's play style is, right? Because it seems that me, Solve, and I'm curious what King and Nick land is that we seem to be more grounded in doing. Because if you're more grounded and you're doing stealthily stuff or you're moving around, you're going to appreciate the third person character.
You
are. I was a menace to society.
So I can see, and that's why it's so much when it gets to you that I want to learn from because of how vast and diverse this game is. Because I didn't know about how the ship card. But continue, Solve.
So quick question, because I didn't play this game stealth. I generally do go that way, but I was just like, nah, we going in there guns blazing. So I didn't play stealth. How was the AI function? Like, because I've seen a couple times where the AI wasn't the best, and sometimes they were okay, sometimes they were good, and sometimes they just didn't move. How were they going from the perspective of someone trying to play the game in a stealth manner?
So I played on normal. I didn't try to go any difficult or anything like that. I played on normal.
You didn't get beast.
No, and that's the thing. I kind of, again, because of my play style and me landing on every planet that I can find and finding things I probably shouldn't find early. I got a pistol that has like 150 power. Yeah. So I am bodying everybody with one shot.
It gives an automatic crit. Boom. As soon as you hit them,
boom. Crit. No matter where on the body I hit them, it's a crit.
It's a crit. I got it too.
Yeah. So in terms of approaching a situation stealthily, I have been able to infiltrate a place and have the enemy not see me. Now, unlike a game like The Last of Us or something, when your companion character, you sort of have to suspend disbelief, and the companion characters are obviously being seen by the enemies, but the game is saying, yeah, but the enemies, the enemies don't see them, right? So to kind of preserve that. In here, if you're with a companion, shout out to you, Vasco, shout out to you, Sarah. Yeah, they're gonna roll up. And if you're trying to be stealthy, that's out the window. So a lot of times I've been able to sneak up possibly on like 2 or 3 NPCs. And again, I got the drop on them. I had a cutlass on one of them and I just hacked them and one hit and I killed them. But again, it was just disappointing. There was no specific animation to it, but I was able to do that. So my impression is that if you are by yourself and you tell your companion character, hey, stay back,
stay here, facts, you gotta tell him, stay there. He will blow up the whole spot.
You know what's funny? my companion was about to smoke just as much as I was about to smoke.
Yeah.
Like there was not
Well,
one
they
time
get
where I
into the
told
mix.
someone to sit back. I was like, nah, I'm gonna be at the front lines. You're gonna be right behind me. Sometimes I just put that person out in the middle of nowhere and be like, you a giant distraction right now. You know,
Yeah.
I want to add to the playing the way we play. Did your companion was against you or for you? Because to me,
But don't go too fast. He got to get these traits out. Everybody got to get these traits out.
Yeah.
We move too fast.
So what I say, the companions that I was with up until now, which has only been 2, one is the robot Vasco, right? And he's down for whatever smoke. He's down for whatever smoke,
He's a
right?
killer, bro.
Yeah.
And then I
run
have
up on the ship.
and I have Sarah, the member of Constellation, and she is about to smoke with factions that are known to be
Evil.
outside the boundaries of the law. If you're doing something that is even remotely like against the faction that kind of like, hey man, they're cool. Like, I don't know why you're doing this. She is going to call it out immediately. Now, when you roll up on pirates with her,
Yep.
she is about to smoke. There was a moment where I went into. I'm on the moon right now, actually. So it's right now. This is happening. I'm on the moon, and I went into an interior building to fight the pirates that were in there, and she didn't come in. So she stayed outside. I can hear her yelling from outside. Oh, you picked the wrong day to mess with me. And she has a shotty. So she's pow, 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 murdering them. And then when she's done, she comes in like, yeah, I'm done with that. Outside, I took care of that.
That's the shotty you gave her?
No, I think I had a shotty. I think if I employ a certain gun, she employs it.
No.
So because for whatever reason, I didn't notice she had a shotty before. When I equipped the shotty, she all of a sudden had a shotty. But I haven't manually equipped any of them with any weapons yet.
She doesn't equip weapons that you equip, because I can put her on an Equinox, or I can put on something else like that, and she won't put that on. But I heard her beg me for ammo and guns.
Word?
Really?
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, she was like, yo, I need ammo and guns. Like, and I said, okay, hold on. I looked at my inventory. I went and traded with her, and I gave her a couple of high caliber, like Kraken weapons that I had that I wasn't using, and the Solstice that I gave her, and an Omni, and gave her the ammo for it. Then I saw her switching in between the guns on the fly. So
nice.
There is some jank when it comes to the characters, like the computer controlled AI characters.
Yeah.
There's jank there. And it's just, I don't think that we're at the point where AI for the characters is there enough, right? We have structurally, we have visually, we have done all this stuff. I think the AI on the companions hasn't evolved enough in video games at this point for it to be like, they understand that you're in stealth mode. They understand that we're not supposed to go and attack this right now. They're supposed to read the situation. We haven't gotten there yet.
You're right. You're right. I just want to push back and shout out my man Adoring Fan, because he listen. His thing is stealthing in the back.
Right.
So he played when I had Sarah. She would always blow up the spot if I'm in. As soon as you're in the stealth and you see hidden and you see that indicator that you're not being wild, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm about to get a drop, and I'm pull out whatever suppressed weapon I got. And I was wondering, why am I not getting stealth kills counted? So what's happening is I'll pull out, get the first hit. She come in. And it's over. But Adoring Fan, as one of my traits, he plays all the way in the back, and he is always stealthily, and he all about my foolishness. So I just wanted there is slight behavioral, it's very minute. I give you this case. We are not there. We are not. You are right. Gaming is not at that point where the companion AI, especially with the trading of the weapons, and
I think that's going to change going forward. And I think with the modding community, when they get a hold of this, they're going to probably tweak that aspect of it, because that's the only thing that like I saw with this. Like now, if you're finished, solve.
We'll just
all right. So my traits, I took Boxer. It didn't show up because I saw Boxer and I was like, right, let me get that right. I'm gonna be running up on people and duffing them out. No, you're not. How I play, absolutely no, you're not. And second, I took like that wanted thing because people will pop up like they'll send agents at you.
Yeah, addict to that thing.
They're like, "Din-din-din-din-din." I wanted to be a space cowboy type of thing, and y'all
Yeah,
run down
King.
on
I
me,
was
catch
getting to
me.
the point where I've killed so many of them. I had bounty hunters showing up. Was like, I ain't trying to take you right now. It's like, and I was
Yeah,
like,
for
why?
real.
He's like, because I'm gonna wait for your bounty to go higher, and then I'm gonna come for you. Like, so it got to the point where if I saw them, because they would show up and help you in space,
Right.
but
Oh,
then
for real?
afterwards, they'd be like, yeah, your bounty ain't high enough for me to care right now. So after I found that out, I just started shooting them too. I was like, no, you ain't coming
Oh.
for nothing. You dying right here, right now.
Take them out. So I'm like waiting for that aspect. The arc tree, as far as how you pick, is completely different from other games in their ilk. I mean, it's probably along the lines, but it's different. It was more robust, and then when you get into the game, you see all the robust traits that you could unlock and different paths that you could go. It's going to be supremely individualized per person. I believe everybody here has had a different take on the same exact game. And that's monumental because we have 5 people here and 5 people play styles has to be accounted for. So going in mentally, physically, you're going to see that are you attached to certain characters? Like I was attached to Sarah. She wasn't about anything that I was doing. And then it got to a point where I said to myself, let me win her over. Let me start doing some nice stuff. And I started doing some nice stuff because it was at a point where she was like, she didn't want to talk to me. Like, get away from me. I don't want to have a conversation with you. No, you're bothering me. Go away. And then I got to a point where I did enough good favor in the world and she saw it and she liked it. And now she's talking to me because I wanted to get to the romantic aspect of it. I'm trying to get to the, she looking kind of cute. So I'm like, hey, now, Sarah, what's
You
going on, man?
that flirt? You had that flirt option?
Yo, we're in the lonely space nights now. Now, what's going on, girl? Like we're hanging out. You know what I'm saying? So
Nights like this.
but I got another character that's named Bo, and no Sam
Cole, with the cowboy hat,
Yeah, the cowboy hat dude
with the
He a
door.
wild dude. Like he's a wild dude. Like if you want to go in the situation that they put me in with this dude, I'm like, man, if you don't sit here, just stay here for a second because you acting up and you make them block hot. So he's one of those dudes. Him and Vasco. Vasco don't care. He runs in rooms and start punching pirates in the face, and I see the energy bar go down. Vasco's like letting off. Like dudes is trying to attack the ship. Vasco wasn't having any of it. I was like, oh, I like you. You gonna stay at the ship. I'm gonna drop some stuff off with you. So I give him some stuff, but the AI needs some tweaking. I'm not gonna lie with the companions, but maybe it's my ignorance in assuming that the stay here hold up button or picking a different character to go with you doesn't have a relevance, because from hearing you guys, it does have a huge relevance. And me holding on to Sarah like it's supposed to be the only precious. I think I gotta let her go and grab somebody else because I did hire some crewmates, and I gotta see because that was my first thing. Hire crewmates to see how they go in aerial combat. My thing is aerial combat. When we get to that, I can just expound on it further. But as far as the traits and stuff go, mine haven't manifested themselves to the point that it makes a difference in the game for me at this point. But on my skill tree now, it formed how I play my game. And I notice now that it's not just normally I wouldn't do certain things, but my skill set goes to that way, and it makes that part easier. Like it's lock picking. Now I got options that'll pop up with the digi lock picking, which is really not lock picking and hacking. It's a little bit different. Lock picking, I think, with the
I hate that lock picking game. I hate it so much. Every time I see it, I get a vein popping in my head.
So once you upgrade the lock picking skill, what happens is it starts giving you indicators on
blue,
which one's blue, right? It'll tell you blue, like, hey, and as you get more and more proficient, it gives you more and more indicators so you can make the right choices and not have
when I learned how bad I was at it, I made it my life's goal to do anything that didn't involve lock picking. Like,
check this out, though.
The good thing is they give you multiple options to do something, but lock picking is sometimes the easiest way. They're like, you can go lock pick, you can go through this vent, and you can do get this thing in 3 minutes.
Exactly.
Or you can go around and do it in 30. Well, I guess I'm shooting the place up. Like
it's still the immersive sim aspect of it that's still like very present in these games. It's like, okay, you just tackle it how you want. Funny thing about the lock picking real quick. I went in and I lock picked this locker that was like expert lock pick, right? It was expert. So I went in, right?
Oh.
And they have a sense of humor, these guys over at BGS.
Oh.
I went, I said, yeah, I popped this. I got it. It was like, because the expert one is like 12 picks or something like that. 10 or 12 picks is a lot. So I go in and it was literally a piece of the chunko meat in there. That was it. There was
wild
nothing.
disrespectful.
I would have preferred they leave me a little note like, hi. I would have preferred that they left me a note and said, hey, maybe you shouldn't try to open everything that you see.
Yo,
That's
Saul,
crazy.
if you get a chance in the lodge, go downstairs. It's a space suit down there.
Yes.
It's under master lock.
Master lock down there. Yeah.
I'm trying to get my master up so I can get that suit.
No doubt. Nick, what's your experience as far as like the, your traits, and where'd you go, man? How did you formulate your character?
My problem is in these RPGs, when you give me a bunch of like options, I immediately become a war criminal. So I picked the
Nothing
adoring
a few
fan.
years of therapy can't fix, Nick.
I picked the adoring fan trait because I needed at least one person in the universe to like me.
Tell me, we did the same thing. You'll tell me he not the funniest. I'm sorry, continue. Tell your story.
I'm a huge Oblivion fan. So as they're like, oh, you can have adoring fan. I'm like, I'm doing this. We're doing this. And this dude literally sat 30 meters behind me while I committed the most violent thing in the universe. And then he's like, oh, hey, here's some ammo. Here's some credits. It's like, he's rewarding my bad behavior. Yes. But like, what I love so much about this is like the traits really played in like to your play style, but I loved how it was always a positive and negative. Mm-hmm. I love that aspect because there's so much in like Fallout 3 and 4 and Skyrim where it was like, oh, there's all these positive perks, and you just had to pick the positives you wanted. But with Starfield, you got your positive, but you got your negative. It's like, oh, I want a big baller house. Well, you have a 50,000 credit mortgage. You're like, oh, that's not great. Oh, I can have parents, but they take 2% of all my earned income. No, I don't want parents. No, I don't need.
Never mind.
That sounds like I gotta pay them to be my parent.
Yeah, like, this is terrible. But I love that variety. And I am very much even in Fallout 4, I do not take companions with me. I do vile stuff by myself. Nobody has to observe this.
See, I'm the opposite way, Nick. I do the stuff in front of them, and if they want to pull up to me, they can pull up to me right then and there. There's no going back to the ship. There's none of that. It's either you shut up or you leave or I kill you. There's no in between.
Oh my God!
I already see how his playthrough when we get to
oh my God! I think the worst thing I did that played off of my traits was it's Aquila. I think I get to the store first. And the girl's like, oh, you probably can't afford most of these, but have a look anyway. So I bought the old world 12 gauge shotgun. And I bought 60 rounds of ammunition. And I proceeded to just go to town on that town because I couldn't afford it.
We're supposed to.
So that was obviously a save and then reload because everything hit the wall.
That was a scummy save.
See, Nick, I wouldn't have reloaded. I would have just left it. I would have had that bounty on my head.
When the whole galaxies come after you.
No, it's pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. I can't go into any galaxy without 6 or 7 ships trying to shoot me down.
Yeah, see, I did the wanted trait. Because
I have that too.
You're low. It's like, oh, when you're at low health, you do more damage, but bounty hunters will come after you occasionally. I was like, man, in Fallout, 3 dudes roll up with bolt action rifles. Who cares? Mm-hmm. I get my first group of bounty hunters. It's 12 dudes, and they corner me in the middle of an open field, and they're like, hey, you want to turn over your stuff? I'm like, no, I'm going to fight you guys. I spent half an hour having to die, repeat, because they cornered me in a damn open asteroid area with just flat terrain and one rock. So I had to ring around the rosy them with the rock because I'm a melee short range character, sitting there reloading my shotgun going, can you guys leave me alone long enough so I can get this done? But all the positives, negatives, of the traits is really awesome because I like having the negatives to it. That was one of the things that made the Outer Worlds
Yep.
so special. Is like you would have all these positives, but you'd also pick up negatives along the way. And I like how that's kind of baked in to this. I really do agree with you guys. The AI at times could be a little bit challenging, especially if you like to play stealth, especially with our little robot friend. I agree with King. That man is throwing hands, asking questions later by a country mile.
It's like even if he even senses that you've been doing some smoke, he's out there.
Well, the thing that would kill me is I'm in a pirate spaceship. I'm sitting there crouched looting a locker. And
And all you hear him in the
combat.
background saying like, "Oh, my firepower far exceeds yours."
Yes.
And I'm like, "Oh my
Like-
god!"
Like there was one time I was sitting there, I was crouched, I was like, I don't know, I was fiddling around with like a foot locker and getting some food out of it. And I turn around, I see this pirate go flying by me, ragdoll, because Bosco's just punched him through a doorway, and I'm like, okay, I guess we're fighting people.
Yes.
Like,
Shout out to Vasco.
like it's all good, but I definitely think the biggest thing I wanted to see more improved was the AI, because it did feel very Fallout 4-ish in terms of how the AI interacted with the world around it.
Yes.
But I will say it was very nice to not have my companions get stuck in doors or
Yes. Oh, I got some stuff.
walls.
Oh, I got some stuff.
King just got that. Everyone that had no issues, please raise your hand. And King's like, I can't raise my hand.
My hand will be raised, sir. I got issues.
I got after Nick when he's finished. I got some stuff about my.
I'm good. Go.
No, it's funny listening to everyone's play styles is so different. And for me, I went space scoundrel because I wanted to intimidate a little bit, with the talking. I went persuasion.
I did regret not going more into persuasive because there was like
Yo.
certain situations where I just kept failing them. I'm like, look, I'm gonna shoot you anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. But I felt like I'd get more money from them. Like,
Yeah, come on. You just pop some drugs. And
Oh, yeah, you can
that's all.
oh, there's drugs you can take.
Oh yeah, you could take some
Persuasion?
alcohol and you could get nice. And
Yeah.
be like,
a
all
lot
right.
of stuff. Yeah.
I really appreciate that where Starfield's like, hey, you want to be more persuasive? Go hit this little pipe of
Remember
drugs. Talk to this dude.
in the Outer Worlds, if you had a 0 intellect, like you would just like there'd be like dots for response.
Nah, you just be dumb. No, listen, persuasion is one of. I'm so glad I went that way, but they did it in a very cool way because there's so many dialogue choices to try to convince someone. So it forces you to learn. Go ahead, what was your
Real
question?
quick, I didn't persuade a lot. Okay, people they either wanted smoke with me or I wasn't a sweet talker. I didn't have a golden tongue.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
did see the mini game a lot, and I felt it a lot.
Yes.
So, like, there was some that was green, some that was yellow, some that was red. Is the green ones like your likelihood of it going through? Is that how it goes?
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of it is the likelihood, and then it's like a turn system. So you have a set amount of turns to try to convince the person to get onto your side, right? Now, some are yellow, red, risky that you could get, let's say, to persuade someone would cost 6 points. There might be one at the beginning that'll give you, if you choose it, would give you 5 points off the rip towards,
Like,
persuading
can
them.
you go over it, or do you have to match them? Like 3 here, 2 here, 1 here, or can you like have a 3 and just hit a 6 and go straight over automatically?
Yes,
you can
do that.
You can hit
Okay.
if
I didn't
it's the
persuade
right
a lot. I
choice
just shot
and
a
you're
lot.
persuade clearly. So if you would pick the right choice and it's at high point value, yeah, you can kind of beeline, but it's also based on your skill level as well. The other thing I know is that I was failing a lot in the beginning. This game, I have to give Bethesda a lot of credit. The amount of dialogue, if you scum save, because you're like, damn, I messed it up. So I'm a scum save, and then I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna pick the right choice. They write 4 or 5 different other dialogue texts that are completely different, and it forces you to learn the mindset of the person you're trying to convince. So the amount of dialogue in written language that they have for the persuasion system is amazing. I will highly advise, if any people like persuasion and manipulating people, go holla at Ryujin. Go holla at Ryujin.
I
I think
listen. Yeah.
the biggest thing I didn't like about the persuasive system, there was some in there, but I wanted more of what you picked at the beginning, the traits, to go into that dialogue. There
No,
were some.
It does. It
but,
does. The
But
thing that
like,
yeah,
I guess where I came from, like Boulder's Gate, like every other dialogue had stuff like that. So if I had like any kind of medical situation where I was a cleric, like it automatically like, you a cleric, you can have this dialogue.
No, bro, they got that. That's what I'm trying to tell
But
you.
no, but I just didn't see it a lot in my playthrough. But keep in mind, I was shooting a lot of people. I wasn't.
Yeah, you killing and murdering, pillaging, and doing what you was doing in space. For me, I would have options: medical, space scoundrel, and persuasion. Some of them, based on what I was doing, was a direct win because of how my character was manifested.
Right.
Others was kind of like, okay, you got to do the persuade, you got to, win this person over. But because my stuff is up. But back what I was saying with Ryujin, that faction line that I went through, it really, if you like that play style, you can hone it. And you can hone it well, and you can do manipulation and get people to move and do things out of spots, and it is insane. Like the thing I will say is this: at first, my only point of contention when we but I'm curious how Nick feels about this, because I don't know if this is new to Bethesda games or something that I missed or not, but they had a part where you get your skill. And then they have the challenge. Well, if you do 10 speech checks or you kill 10 ships, then you'll get this. So I'm like, all right, where's it at? I did that. But no, they really want you to use another skill point to now invest in that challenge and that upgrade. Right?
That's the biggest thing I didn't like.
Right. And that's the controversy. And I'm curious with Nick on that. How did you feel that? And I'm going to get back to the rest of my character build. But I was curious how you felt about the when you pick a skill, they have challenges to make the skill like 4 levels better.
Yep.
Right. But if you pick it, if you get another skill point, remember, skill points take a while to get now, especially if you're not addict and you're not destroying the galaxy.
I think I was like 36, 37.
So for others, it's harder to get a skill point. So every bit of investment counts. How did you feel about that system, and how did you utilize that? And I'll tell you about the rest of my traits.
See, I like that system because it really makes you hone in on a character. Because I think my biggest criticism of Fallout 4 was you could be everything.
Yes.
If you played that to max level, you could max out every skill tree you had, and you could just be this superhuman that could talk, gun, and blast your way out of everything. What Starfield really makes you do is go, okay, what's your specific play style? How do you want to play? Because it's like, my thing was shotguns and knives. So I picked up an Equinox. I'm like, it's just a laser gun. I can use this thing. My God, it was like watching a toddler with a bolt action World War II rifle. It was terrible. Terrible. Like, and then really make you like, if you're going to build a specific way, they force you to, I'm not going to say force, that comes like a strong word, but they definitely make you focus in on what you want to do and what you want to do best.
I think strongly encourage you to continue down that path.
I didn't mind it, but I do prefer the old Fallout, Skyrim, where like you get numbers to go into individual skill points. Like, I prefer that because I feel like I have more control over what I want to do. Like when you have dialogue checks in like Fallout 4, not Fallout 4, but Fallout 3, it would be like your speech is 38 out of 70 or 28 like you can still do it, but you have for the skill check that they want, you might not succeed. Like, I prefer that system.
They have it there. You can see it if you're paying attention to it, because I do persuade a lot. So it gives you the option to, hey, it has the green next to it, a +2 or +3, and as it goes down, it gets into the red. Now, you might be able to bully your way through it if you pick an option, and they also have the if you do it right enough, you can press the X button to auto persuade. Right. So they give you a lot of options in that persuade if you're gonna go down it. And then like y'all was saying, the more you persuade, if that is in your skill set and you unlock that extra perk in there, you can choose to use your skill point on that persuade to get the second tier, then get down to the third tier. I like this format better than the previous formats before, because like Nick was saying, you become a god. And in this game, you're not going to become a god of everything. You're going to become a god of something particular. Like you're going to become a space real baron, right? Or you're going to become like a stealth god or persuasion king, whatever it is. But you're not going to be able to master all of that.
All of
stuff.
them.
Well, you
And that's
can.
where I
You
see
can, but
a
you're talking
game
about
plus
thousands of
coming.
hours.
Thousands of
gameplay.
hours.
Yeah. It's different in that from the onset in a Fallout, you could do that, right? You could just go, I'm gonna pick one here, one here, one here, one there, and
Right.
each of those is going to give you enough to be able to see all those options and be successful when you couple that with, drinking a potion or something like that to get that
Right.
particular skill up, right? Here, it encourages you to do that and it simplifies it. So I could see somebody who's a big Fallout fan come in and be like, oh, they overly simplified this. And I think it would be a valid criticism, but I do like the fact, to Nick's point, that it kind of, when you come in, when you finish this game, my feeling is that you're going to have a character that you identify with specifically for what they were able to accomplish within this world, whatever sort of speciality they have. And I think that's much different. And again, it was, I think it's a risk on their part, but I think it's them being confident in what they built, that they're like, nah, you don't necessarily have to be a jack of all trades, master of none. If you focus down on something, and like we talked about, you focus down on something from the very onset, you could see that stuff reflected in your character in a way that was harder to see in an Oblivion or a Fallout or a Skyrim. So from the onset, they tell you that you feel like these perks are meaningful. So I like it. I can see, somebody else coming in and be like, I used to have more choice. And I don't know. Sometimes they made some decisions here that I'm glad that they made in terms of that.
We got to get to Attic because for me, like his play style seems so
just murder everything.
right. So I'm dying to know, like, I want to hear how he did it. What you was doing out there. What was the tree? What was you doing?
I picked everything that let me live longer. So I picked Wanted. If my health went certain, I got more HP. I picked one that said I had more oxygen and HP. I think it was like space something. I picked DNA.
Oh, you did alien DNA? Okay,
yeah,
we filmed this.
I gave me more health.
I did alien DNA.
Yeah. I picked everything that let me be in the smoke as long as possible. And then I started going up on medical, making sure my guns were right, upgrading consistent amount. I remember there's a time where I had a conversation. I went into this room and this chick was sitting there and she was like, I had to get something from her and she wasn't, and I failed the persuasive. And then I talked to her. She's like, I've already told you I don't want to talk anymore. And I talked to her again, and she said the same line. And I was like, I'm going to give you one more chance. And I talked to her again. She said something else. And I turned around. I walked back for like 5 or 6 seconds. And then I turned around. I was like, you know what? Nah, forget this.
Oh, my God.
And I started the shot. See, I always start the smoke with the biggest dude in the room, okay? Because they don't see it coming.
Who got the big number on his head?
First.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there. I got an electric gun for robots. I have an explosive shotgun. I have a handgun that shoots 3 bullets. I have a kind of a scout rifle from Destiny that catches people on fire.
Oh, damn.
And then I just got grenades for days. And I got a bunch of medical stuff. And I kid you not, like every conversation, there ain't no need for me to reload that save. Because it's not that I'm trying to talk to this persuasive to save me. I'm trying to persuade you to save you.
and so that I don't have to kill you.
and sometimes I win. Most of the time I don't. I'm gonna be real with you. I got like a 0 on persuasive pretty much. There'll be a couple times where the persuasive worked. Sarah, she hates me. Like she, I keep her at the lodge. Okay, she don't see half the stuff I do.
Keep in the crib.
As far as like companions go, I don't like. I did run into this individual on the ship on a ship that her ship was broke down, and you could tell like when I talked to her, like the little the little stats came up, so I could
The
tell
stats
she's
came
a
up, so you
companion.
know, yeah.
And the way she was talking, she about to smoke too. But I didn't have what she needed to fix the ship. So I was like, you know what? I'll come back later. I got you. I'll come back later. Well, I forgot where she was. And they don't really give you any kind. She's still, in my game, she's still floating in space somewhere. Like, so, and I look for it too. Man. I look for it.
So real quick, because I want to, before you pass it up to King, I wanted to ask you in reference to, because you're so space combat-y as far as, ship to ship combat. I think King also played that way too. But like, one of the struggles I had was trying to get into that interface and learn it, because I thought it was an exciting way to play versus traditional Bethesda explore, what I would consider what probably me and solve, and maybe
Right.
Nick
On
would do
foot, like
on
yeah.
Well,
foot.
do you just want to go because because what I want to do, because we pretty much like butchered like the character development. I don't think we really got to go too much into that.
Yeah,
You want to just go ahead and go straight to the combat?
yeah, we can do combat.
Yeah. So
Yeah, because I'm curious. I want to start with you, because you clearly the most competitive lord on the team
I would beg to
with
differ.
King, because King told me some
Yeah.
stories and we talked offline. So I want you two up next to set us off, because I didn't play that way until very late, and then I started to understand, wow, how dynamic it could be. But I didn't know, I wasn't equipped, because I didn't go that way with my character. So
you wasn't beefy enough.
that wasn't beefy. So how did that whole start for you? You were just running down on people. How you was doing it? What was you doing?
Right now, we're gonna go over ground combat, guns, weapons, and the combat in space. Like I said, we pretty much went over a lot of the ground stuff. I stuck to close range weapons and one long range weapon and something to disable robots with. That's generally how I fought. Now, I did say, Bethesda's known for their combat. They've been known for years, from VATS to the Fallout and how they handle hand-to-hand combat in Elder Scrolls. I want to ask you guys real quick when it comes to this. We don't have to go to this in too deep. How is this combat different from what you expect? And is there anything that you could have wanted for it to be more improved? Now, we don't have to talk about frame rate. Obviously, people playing on Xbox, frame rate could have been made the combat better. But what stood out in the combat to you guys?
Let King jump this off, because he was definitely combative.
Okay, so when I started it, I was like, I thought I was gonna be fisticuffs, right? I thought I was gonna be a fisticuff dude, take the box. I'm gonna run up on you, and that quickly learn, back off me, boy. like my bullets is hot for real. So I'm like, all right, cool. I got a shotgun very early on, and it was a golden shotgun. I was like, okay, let me rock with this legendary shotgun, and 2-shot blam, you done. 2-shot blam. So my shotgun proficiency went up without me even knowing what I was doing.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, okay. Let me just add everything to my shotgun. So my shotgun is pretty much close to max out. I didn't get to level 3 yet because of the tier system, but I got to level 2. Then I went down to ballistics. But I also noticed that I was going to go into space engagement.
Let's go.
So I wanted VATS, and I understand why they didn't do it.
Yeah,
right.
Part of me does wish they would have had like a certain astronaut suit that let you have VATS for that one suit that's like hidden somewhere.
Yeah, give me the Iron Man armor from Earth.
That would have been cool. But you obviously, for IP copyright purposes, you could put Iron Man in it.
Yeah, right. Put
unless Microsoft buys Marvel.
Yeah, right. Then it could change, right? You put armors in space, you get the vibranium suit. You go mining vibranium. Because it did come from outer space. Anyway, back to what I was saying. It's just like, all right, so I did all of this stuff, and I got my proficiency up this way, and I started getting weapons, and I noticed, I said, you know what, I'm going to stick away from the energy weapons, and I'm going to stick to the ballistics, because my ballistics started going up because I picked ballistics on my shootings and stuff. So, like, this game, if you're proficient in an area and the game is like kind of guiding you into a way, you're going to start allocating your perks, your levels, your skill points to those perks that can make you more efficient in the world. So really right now when I'm doing combat, I stopped worrying more so about VATS, and I was able to use different pistols and stuff. And I thought, The aiming was a whole lot better than
It was.
other Bethesda games. I thought the inside combat was a whole lot better than Skyrim and stuff like that. Because using the sword,
I didn't really
you have
use
this,
the
like,
inside combat
floaty
too much.
thing. It's kind of weird, but here it felt a little bit more connected. You felt a little bit more there, and I must shout out Little Man, because Little Man it's night and day when you're playing on the Series X and the Series S. The Series S, he's stable. He's running around. He's fine. He's no problem. I think the extra resolution on the Series X tends to bog down in certain spots where you have more people on the screen, and it's
Would
doing
you say
a
like
little bit
New
more.
Atlantis with the density
Right.
of all the NPCs?
Right, but Little Man is like, what's up? Like, where are we going? What are we trying to do? And I don't have any problems with Little Man. So I was really happy there. Now the space. I'm a wing commander guy.
Woo! Let's go.
And it was like, what was that game? Charvis? Something like that came out. It was like Space Combat.
Chorus. Yeah.
Chorus.
Chorus was Space Combat. And that was pretty fun. And I was like, please, I want to know how they're going to do it. Because I'm going to be in space more than I'm going to be on land. That was my whole mindset going in. I'm going to be a pirate, and I'm going to steal ships. I got to the point now, I have 8 ships now, all stolen, unregistered, except for the one ship that I do have, because it costs a lot of bread to register ships. But
You actually make money because there's always like a $4,000 or $5,000 difference between registering and selling for the most part. So I've literally just been like robbing people in space, taking it back, registering and selling it, and making like
How you
4 or
register the
5
ship?
You have
Well, you
first
gotta-
you have to steal the ship.
you got to steal it.
You have to
and
take
then
it
you
back
gotta
to, like-
I haven't
register it
stole my
under your
Solve.
name.
Have you stolen your first ship? I haven't
Oh
stolen
yeah,
mine.
I stole mine real quick. I don't want to take King's time, but so I went to a settlement and they were like, "Hey, one of our settlers got caught in a storm. Can you go help them?" And I was like, "I said,
Did you leave
sure."
them there and take
No,
their
and
ship?
no, so I walked out and I said, "Oh, that's a pretty ship. Let me go grab this real quick and I'll come back and help them." So I went, stole their ship, took it up into the atmosphere so it recognized it as I stole their ship. I have a ship now. I landed again to try to help them. They were like, "Nah, we're good."
All right,
You
real
know what's
quick, I know
funny?
I'll be interrupting.
Yep.
One quick, because I had one opportunity because I haven't done a lot of space, and I'm running around. Once Addict told me about the scanner, right? When
Oh,
you're
yeah.
in the new thing, hit the scanner, and then you can see and talk and hail. I didn't know
Yep.
about that, Addict. I was running around like a fool.
And
right?
you know,
So-
we got to bring that up real quick. Like Bethesda, there needs to be more information prompts on this
Nah,
game.
they don't
There's
care.
so
the
many people
onboarding,
that are just
they don't
confused
care.
on what to do because it's
yes.
just a simple tutorial on the first time you board a
Yes.
ship. They do it, but it's just like they just tell you like one scenario that you use that. And they're, oh yeah, you do everything else, but we're not going to tell you that. Like,
This is the only game that has the most layers to it that they
Yes.
said, man, go figure it out.
Go-
Like,
yeah,
go
it-
figure it
This
out.
is way too hardcore, Bethesda, where they're trusting that that there's so many complexities to the system.
You
that
know what's
can
funny?
develop your
I
idea
haven't
to store it.
crafted
Like-
anything. I haven't made anything, and they haven't
Oh, I
told
did.
me how to do any of it. Like,
Oh, I did. I go to people's stations, lab stations, and when I'm in there, I have the materials. I do all these projects, but nobody told me to.
Nope.
Nobody. See, I think this is Starfield. Here you go. Go figure it out.
Now
Yes.
I will say it go figure it out. It's still there. They're not holding your hand, but it is more streamlined than like when you go into like Fallout 4. Fallout 4 was like, all right, all this crap, all this junk that you got. Yeah, you can put it like you can build the gun from scrap, right? Carbon.
Right.
You can't really do that here in this game. Here
No.
you can modify this, that, and the other.
Right.
So that was even more intricate. And if you didn't know what you were doing, you were like, oh, wait a minute, I can get this and put this thing on here. Here it's simplified in that you find the pharmaceutical lab, or you find
Yes.
True.
the helmet enhancer, and you just go in, and if you have the materials,
If you have it,
Now-
it'll
do
light
it.
up.
and
yeah.
that's I see. So Attic
They
is not
did
going to
some-
have the materials because Attic is not collecting materials.
Oh,
Attic
right.
doesn't
And
have
I'm
materials.
collecting materials everywhere
I
I
have
go.
so much material from all the ship destroying I do. You have no idea. I have so much stuff I've had to sell it.
So
Because
it
there's
goes
so
when you
much.
destroy a ship.
I-
Does it automatically go into your hull?
Yeah,
And
No,
you
see,
I had to
no.
learn from King that some of the ship parts.
You have to collect them.
crash
collect them.
land
Floating.
on a plane.
I've gotten to the
let
point.
let me finish.
Okay,
Let's
sorry,
let King go.
I just want to before King. I'm gonna let you go because you just got one tangent that I don't want to forget. Because I'm the only person that has one ship. It seemed like everybody else got a ship except me. So I said I went on a mission looking to steal or get somebody's ship. Right. Try to get somebody on a planet because King told me, "Yo, look in the air.
When they land,
go get it. Go get it." I tried to get somebody. I had Sam. I had Sam Cole. Let me get these balls.
Okay.
I had to get Sam Cole. I had Sam Cole with me. He saw me. I closed. I said, "Sam, wait outside.
Right.
I'm going to go talk to the captain." Closed the door. He's like, "Yeah, I just landed my ship. I just had a little problem." I said, "Yo, you need any help?" So he was like, "No, I got this on my own." Close the door. Pull out this fresh shotty. Oh, I don't know. Sam Cole was disliked it. Oh, I'm never running with you. So I'm like, damn, can't use this shit because I like Sam Cole. That's my man. The only other opportunity I had to rob somebody, and this is what I know I'm too good a person. I was in a zone where a lady named Grandma said, Hey there. I hailed her. Hey, how you doing? She was like, "Hey, I'm doing it. You want to come over? I got some nice meals, some nice treats." So I was like, all right, so let me dock up. I'm docked up on you. She had a spread with food. Nice old woman.
Some Hansel and Gretel
Bro,
sounded.
so I said, what's the
She
catch?
liked that beefy body, didn't she?
I said, "What's the catch?" She's like, "No, I'm a single woman. I'm a widow. My husband died." I was like, "You running out here in space all alone?" She had a big attic. She had a B-class ship.
But you wouldn't be able to drive it.
So I was like,
unless you B class.
Yeah, you have to upgrade.
But I was close to B class. I could have unlocked that.
But the thing is I think that particular thing they let you take it because she can give it to you in a mission or something like that.
So I couldn't do it. This woman fed me.
I'm felonious.
All right, so now I'll give the story back to you. This is your segment. I interrupted. Sorry, I had to get the grandma story off.
This is when I figured it out. I'm on a planet, and my son is sitting there. He's like, "Daddy, did you see them land over there?" So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I put on the backpack where I got unlimited run because it gives me oxygen. So I'm running and I'm jumping, and the zero gravity is there. So I'm flying all the way over there to them. I get to them, and they was like, "Yo, we need some water." Yeah. I'm like, "Oh man, here, I'll give you some water." So I went over to their ship, and I checked it out. I was like, "Oh, I can do this. This is about my speed." And I'm right over there with the shotgun.
You sit there. You strolling through inventory. Oh, I can do this. This is good.
So see, and this is where I love this game.
That's where the game is fine. I ain't going for it. Continue.
The level of piracy that you get to do, like I go through their hull.
It's
I
PC
go and
Master
check their
Race
cargo.
level.
and I'm in dog fights. I learned in dog fights never have your speed full.
Yes, thank you, bro. I would make thank you.
You have it down to like 23, and you're able to turn. You turn, and they get behind you, and they just stay behind you.
I know,
and lock on.
There's actually like I keep my speed max because most of the time I'm fighting 5 or 6 people. What you do is like when you're going up, you decelerate and you'll go sideways.
Well, what I do is I stay at probably at 20 miles an hour.
Okay.
And I kill everybody. Get them head on as they turn, follow behind them, shoot them, take them down. I go after the lowest one to the highest, and I have my repairs on me. So I'm doing repairs while I'm shooting. But also my engine mates that are there, I got people that's highly proficient in shielding, ballistics, and skywork, right? So and pilot. So I went, and that's where I focused on. I focused on getting my crew together that was going to do that, and I did that at Coruscant. But the thing is, what y'all don't realize is if y'all fight near a planet and you down a ship, there's a crash site on that planet.
Yes.
So you go down to the planet, you scan the planet. After you got all that stuff out of space, you scan the planet, and then you go down to the crash site. When you go down to the crash site, you're getting more materials, more money. You're getting the actual ship.
You know how many ships I've put on planets? Oh, I just realized how much money I've just left.
Yeah, you left tons of money.
Tons of stuff.
I literally got one time. I was on the free whatever they're called, free that faction, the free people, the people with the freelance. I killed everyone in their orbit. Like, you know how much money I left on the planet.
That went down, but what I've learned now, I've unlocked the perk where I can target them, and I target them now, and I target just the engines. Once you disable the engines, you can now board the ships. So what you want to do is you want to disable them to the point where they're the engines is broken, but they're not destroyed. Then you board, you kill everybody on board, you take the hull, then you can take the ship, fix the ship, and it's part of your ship line now. Right? So now what I've done is I stopped destroying the ships because there's no value in destroying the ships. There's value in taking down the engines, breaking the shields down, taking down the engines, boarding the ship, stealing everything off the ship from the passengers to the hull, and taking the ship, fix the ship, then sell the ship. So I did get to the point where I'm close to the point where I got enough money that I could take a couple of ships, sell them, and then get that bread, like, because you got to register them, sell them, then get the bread back, and then conveniently cycle it. But the pirating aspect, the ship stuff, it's way beyond Wing Commander. I was hoping for it to just be right there, be close to 3DO's Wing Commander, and it has far exceeded it. The space aspect of this game alone, and I can see where Todd and the team was really excited about it, because for what you did on Fallout on Earth, that's cool, and now you can go to different planets, and it's kind of the same. And you're just trying to figure that part out. So you're really doing story here. This is the whole new aspect of They've Conquered. And you've done it in such a way that it is and I'm still evolving in this space. I'm still learning in this space, because I wasn't able to take B-class ships, and I just got that. And I was like, okay, let me see. Now I got an Achilles ship. I stole an Achilles ship, and those Achilles warships is probably one of the most versatile when it comes to fighting. Because when you, like Attic was saying, when you slow down and you accelerate behind him, you do like a 360 turn, and then you position yourself right behind the ship, and then you hit the lock on button, and then you can target either shields, engines.
Which one? I need that skill. What skill is that?
Well, that you got to go to the technical perk where everything is space based. I'm on
I need to know what that one is.
right side.
So it'll let you pick what thing to target.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you notice when you're fighting in space,
You have to press
and
X on the ship. You have to target and then press X, and it'll bring up
But there's a skill.
Now time will slow down a little bit, but not a lot. They can get out of your rage.
Okay.
Right. So what also you can do is, when you start building up these perks, you can heal your ship while you're fighting.
Yes, with the hull, with the right stick.
But if you look at the bottom, you have points that you can, like, if they take some shielding down, you can add it to your shielding. That's the added layer to the space combat that Wing Commander and stuff didn't have.
Yes.
Right. And I think they make up for certain things like they don't have now, but I'm probably didn't unlock that yet. So I'm probably talking out of turn. But this aspect of it, the space aspect, this is where Starfield shines the most to me. You know, story is great. We already know what they're going to do with story. We already know what they're going to do on Earth. You know, minus the VAT system, we already knew what that combat is like. We were more skeptical about this combat and if they was going to get this combat down pat. And I think they far exceeded my expectations when it came to it.
No doubt. Solve. I want to get to you because obviously I don't know how much spacefaring you did, but it seems your style may have been a mix between mine and theirs. But curious how your combat overall was.
Well, to start out, ground combat. So ground combat, like I talked about before, I was initially focused on stealth. I said, let me see how I can play this game really stealthily and use melee weapons, right? And I quickly realized that I just wasn't going to have fun with it. Like I said, like with melee, you basically have your right trigger, which is allowing you to swing, right? Swing your weapon. You also can click in your right stick for a lunge attack, right? And then left trigger is a block, right? So you have that. But apart from that, like I was kind of disappointed that I didn't see any sort of real animations for stealth kills, anything like that. So it did not feel like I was going to have fun playing that way. So to King's point, I immediately switched to ballistics, right? And I switched to human-esque ballistic weapons instead of laser weapons and stuff like that. The laser weapons are cool, but I just felt that the oomph and the impact of the ballistic weapons was very cool. So like I was saying, I played it in third person mode, and I go into combat scenarios, and the thing that felt good about it, first off, again, and this is a caveat that I have to say, because I don't know how the performance was on the console side, but on the PC side, I'm able to enable G-Sync and all that stuff. I don't know if you're able to enable the VRR on your specific TVs in conjunction with the Xbox and stuff like that. But I was able to do it on the PC. And when I connected the PC to the TV as well, enabling VRR smoothed out that experience considerably. So that smoothing, coupled with the fact that I do think that the combat is much, much better than what we've seen in their previous games. Like Fallout 4 was a decent jump over Fallout 3, right? You still had VATS if you needed it. I think here it's almost them saying we don't need VATS. We don't need VATS. Although I would have liked to have seen it, because I want this. I want the cinematic nature of VATS, right? Where I was like, I'm gonna blow your head off. I'm gonna do this. And so far, I haven't seen that in this game. So that is a little bit disappointing. But I will say that the gunplay feels a lot better. I don't feel like I'm shooting off into space. I love the fact that wherever you are, whatever planet you're on, how your combat scenarios are going to play out is very much dependent on the gravity of the planet, right? Like if right now I'm in like a combat scenario on the moon, and obviously every little jump that I do, I'm flying up into the air, and then I hit my boost pack, which I finally unlocked. I unlocked my boost pack, and I'm just soaring across the landscape. So all of a sudden now I have the high ground on all of these pirates, and I'm just popping them midair, boom, 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 boom. So that adds another layer to it. But again, it wouldn't work if the gunplay did not feel that much better. Again, and like I said, I have the G-Sync and all that stuff I know helps it. But I didn't feel at all like I was like, man, I'm fighting against these controls. These weapons are missing for no reason. Everything that I've equipped in terms of perks and upgrades to these weapons immediately give me some sort of feedback on the weapon that improves it for me. So I'm very happy with it so far. I wish the AI was smarter. I wish the AI was smarter, because they do you have AI that stands back and tries to sort of snipe at you. You have AI that sort of mid-range sort of tries to shoot at you. And then you have AI guys that'll bum rush you with a
rundown
weapon.
They got the rundown cutters with the cutters. They got
with the cutters with the melee weapon. And those guys, like, again, I got the shotgun that's going to drop them in 1 or 2 shots, and the pistol that's definitely going to drop them in 1 shot. So I do wish it was smarter, but maybe that's me not going up to a higher difficulty level. But overall, I enjoy it, and I don't feel like I'm fighting the controls. Now, jump into space combat.
How was you? I'm curious.
I haven't done any actual combat except for the simulator stuff to get your license to go, because I jumped in and I went with the Vanguard, right? Over in New Atlantis. I signed up with the Vanguard, and part of joining the Vanguard is, hey, you got to show us that you could defend yourself in a ship. So they put you in a simulator. And so I did the simulator stuff.
I just realized there's a license for shit.
There's a license because the Vanguard is basically the volunteer military corps for the United Colonies, right? Nah. So I went in, I said, let me go do me. I'm trying to be nice and trying to do the right thing, even though like I want to have all of these protections in place, even though I'm committing heinous acts all over the place. So I did that. So that's the combat I've gotten into. So what I will say, and to King's point, I agree completely, is the fact that when I saw all those different gauges, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I'm going to be able.
It rubbed me wrong at first.
It rubbed me wrong, right? And one of especially because I forgot that I can go out into third person mode. Because when I go out into third person mode, now I'm like, because I agree with y'all. I love Wing Commander. I love Colony Wars. But I'm at a point in my life I don't deal with those gauges or whatever. I want it to be more of an arcadey experience. So, but what I realize is that they really have found that perfect mix with it, where it's like, hey, you have to pay attention to the gauges on your ship, because it's going to tell you, like you said, hey, there was an instance where I had to sneak into a certain area, right? Because
the engines.
The religious zealots were there. The zealots were there, and they were like, yo, you need to go get this info, but you cannot make any noise. So it tells you, and I didn't realize that, hey, shut down your engine completely, go quietly in, go collect what you got to go, and then do a jump real quick and get out of there. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe. So the thing is, that level of depth
I killed them.
Depth
By the way, just
Oh
clarify.
my God.
I killed them.
I looked at them. I was like, I'm not going to engage in this combat right now. Let me just follow the story.
Yep.
So I did that. But what it made me realize is that there's depth there that is they've managed to streamline it in a way where it's not overwhelming. It still feels somewhat arcadey, because especially when you're playing it in third person mode, you see the lasers flying back and forth, you see the dog fighting, and it feels really good. And it feels like they put a lot of time and effort into making it feel like something that isn't like a simulator, like a flight sim, where it is, hey, if I don't pay attention to all this stuff properly, I'm going to lose. You can still sort of, hey, I'm going to dogfight this guy and chase him and try to lock my missiles onto him and blow him out of the sky. And it still feels fun in an arcadey way. But it also allows you to sort of, hey, I need to take power away from this particular thing to put more into missiles. So I have extra missiles to shoot. And to me, it's robust, but at the same time, it works for somebody who's doesn't want to get into the minutia of that sort of stuff. And I think I'm going to enjoy it. I haven't done a whole lot of it. Like I said, I only did simulation, and I've avoided it in actual space. So, but yeah, what I've seen, I like.
So
No, that's cool. I mean, I'll jump real quick because I got to give my experience. Is that the way I was playing it initially as a Bethesda? What happened? Kicking is funny.
Yeah,
me
I'm
laughing.
just looking at the questions.
Okay, yeah, it's just like I'm playing like a Bethesda game. I'm just gonna be 100%. My play style is I'm going into the room, I'm breaching clear, I'm gonna pick up every cup, I'm gonna search every notebook, I'm gonna read every audio file.
Yes.
If I see high value on a thing,
I'm so glad I never got that disease.
Oh, I got that disease. And then shout out to the companions, even though we kind of killed them. Shout out to Vasco that said, "Absurd, you can give me some because you are encumbered and you are
don't talk mad smack too. Be like, are you really carrying more stuff?
Yeah. See, I gotta get and I want to give the combat and the companions some credit too. Is they've added, at least the companions I've been, idle animations when I do my Bethesda game stuff. So they be like, all right, this dude, he be like, this dude gonna stay in this one room and search every desk. I'm gonna sit over here and you go ahead, Cog. Like, I like that attention to detail because to me, it shows that it made them feel human. Like that's what someone would do. Like, yo, this dude really gonna take all day doing this?
All the styrofoam cups.
Yeah, like so I'm ridiculous. I'm like, oh, reagent, coolant. I'm just doing too much. So that's me. Combat, where I felt it was very similar to King. I came in there, I had the pistol, and I was like, all right, it just ain't had enough punch for me. I just wasn't doing it for me. I remember like free roaming and searching a base and finding like some type of energy shotgun that had a little range. And I was just body. Then it became like a shotgun style for me. And I started to do that. Then I started to get in. I have to give this game credit for the weapon types. I had a gun called Orion, like a laser weapon. I had like a deadbolt shotgun, old hunting rifle for long range. Dope. I'm with Solve. Didn't like the melee as much. I didn't get any cool melee weapons like you did. When you had weapons, you talk about you cut and you wait and you watch and you see the reaction. But it's very Destiny-like in that any type of the weapon that you get could have that legendary exotic perk to it that does plus more damage to robots, plus more damage to aliens, some type of give and take. So I will give that. Boost pack to me changed the game for me. Once I really mastered it and I remember getting my first power boost pack, the one that's like a trampoline where you can jump on top of buildings. That joint changed the game for me. I'm over there hovering around, looking around. It was crazy. And then my platforming, which then encouraged me to go third person only. Like, I want to see where I'm landing. I want this is fire. So grab jump, I want to give that. Combat AI, Solve is right. Yeah. Sometimes
I like because they confident in the beginning when they shields is up.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Fighting the boss, he confident as hell. And then when his shield hit the last level, he's like, oh, I gotta get him out of here.
You gotta get him out of here.
They're good about running away.
They
run away is the best.
Oh, they will
and they go heal up.
Yep.
Now, what I will say is, even though I would say it's serviceable, but I'm with King that I'm with Solve that it feels good. The
Mhm.
shots, the impacts, the gunplay, it feel like I didn't need VATS. I felt good on the ground as far as that. And then the last thing I will say, I wouldn't give them credit because again, if you've done Ryujin, it's a very lot of stealth stuff. The stealth AI is god tier. There was a quest that I had to infiltrate a corporate building of my own. And oh no, it was hard. What are you doing over there? Like from a long, it was, and that's what I learned about, crouching and being, out of looking at the hidden meter and seeing it was. It's very accurate, even when it comes to stealing. As far as that play style, that's what I learned about the suppressed weapons, getting my suppressed kills, and then back to the actual space combat. I learned thanks to Addict because talking to him with lasers, and then I'm more of a missile guy. I like to get the lock on. Do that kind of stuff. But I'm not adept yet there. I just got to get more turning and more skills up. But overall, I just want to say the combat really impressed me. I didn't think I would like it as much as I would. And then
I got obsessed. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, like it's something about it. And then to your playstyle, Addict, there's something about the random nature of going to another space jump, looking around, who's the ships around, or a random encounter.
Yeah,
someone talks to you, and then you go, wait, hold on.
I was doing that. I was literally jumping from galaxy to galaxy
Yeah.
looking for smoke.
Jumping, and because when you were telling me, I was like, Addict, does random things happen? You seem like you always in beef. I don't never, because I wasn't going, I was only staying to jumps that were familiar and not going to anything
I had
new.
I had a ship beg me to not blow it up once. Like, it was bad.
Yeah, I had people where you get random encounters where I had to become a diplomat to save a colony from one person was like, we were here, we're the Mass Effect.
Oh, you talking about the big ship? The big ship?
Yeah, they were like, and they was like, we're the Mass Effect Andromeda crew. We feel we claimed this planet, and you got to go there. And the guys was like, yo, if you don't blow this planet up and get this ship out of here, we gonna handle it. But yeah, we ain't gonna do much.
Bad. I blew that ship up.
Oh damn! I saw the opposite, and that ship is huge. Have you did the tour through that ship? Man, it's crazy.
I blew it up before I went in.
and so like I said, the last thing I'll say, and I'll pass it to Nick, is just that, especially with the ship combat, the thing that really adds a nice flavor to it, where from the guys that like the wing commanders, there's nothing more fun than a dogfight when they go, yeah, you got you now. Like when they talking to you, like that adds a nice little flavor to it. But Nick, your overall thing, and then I know Attic, and then we'll get finished. I know we're all over the place.
Yeah, I'm a snob when it comes to FPS combat. Like I am a snob. Like I am your Doom, your Quake. Like I grew up on that stuff, right? I've been playing Wolfenstein and Doom since I was 3 years old. Like I'm an FPS snob through and through. And I played this damn game in third person 98% of the time because I loved it.
Wow.
I loved it because like the moment, like the first moment I boarded a spaceship and one of those eclectic or electric dudes bum rushed me with the shank and I shotgunned him. I was like, oh wait, we shanking people? Okay. And like through my entire playthrough so far, I'm using old school weapons. Like I got your bolt action rifles, I got your old world shotguns, I've got a combat knife. Like I will full tilt run into a spaceship with nothing but a combat knife and kill the entire crew.
Wow.
Like that is my jam because I've been doing that since like Fallout New Vegas. It's like the combat knife and the bolt action rifle. Your whole crew's gone.
Wow.
But I really appreciated the jetpack combat because jetpack combat, and as stupid as it sounds, feels inherently floaty in a lot of games. There's very few games that get boosted combat right. And I liked the boosted combat in Starfield. It felt natural, like using your boost in, like it'd take like 5 minutes to get into the habit of using it. And then you were using it all the time and you didn't really notice it until you got into like, you start talking like the bigger boost packs, you start bouncing off the ceiling because you're not paying attention.
That's me.
But I really like how natural it felt. It didn't feel inherently floaty. Like you didn't feel like you blasted into the air and then just kind of like floated there and then the shooting felt bad. Everything felt really punchy. And I really liked how punchy a lot of the weapons were. I agree with you guys, like the pistols. They're okay. Some of the later pistols definitely get a lot better. But the shotguns hit. I really liked how the laser guns hit because so many games, laser guns are just pew 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 pew, and they feel terrible to use. But the laser guns like hit in this game. I do wish there was dismemberment because man, once you get the explosive rounds on the shotgun, if there was dismemberment in those ships,
Yeah.
I'd have to pay an extra 10,000 credits to get the ship clean before I sold it. In terms of space combat, I've never really played any games with space combat, really and truly. So like this was my first experience to dive into it. And I will full bore admit, I felt like an idiot. I was about 5 minutes from messaging at it because when you first dock your first starship,
Oh God,
I was like,
I didn't even know how to do that.
I sat there and I was like, okay, so we got gauges and everything else. I'm like, so I gotta like dock this thing. Like I've got to land it right on the damn ship. So I'm sitting there for like, I'm going to say optimistically 15 minutes. It was probably closer to 25 where I've got the engines on 0 and I'm trying to like
waiting for a prompt.
Exactly. Waiting for the prompt.
And not knowing that you got to press A on it to bring up
to tell it to bring it up to thing.
And then to dock. And I think, like I said before, that figure it out, that adds an extra 20 hours to this game because the figure it out adds, figure out how to do these guns, figure out how to dock, figure out how to fight in space. It was 3 ships that kept killing me, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I got to jump on them. There's no freaking way. Till I figured out, stop speeding, just slow down and attack, and just sit there in space and turn. There's no indication on how to do anything. I think if anybody has any criticism of this game, is that aspect, because there's no way in hell you're supposed to be sitting there for 15 to 20 minutes trying to figure out how to dock.
Well, and see, we don't have the benefit. And this is always the fun part about reviewing games is like people that have played this post-launch, they're going to Google, they're going to go, how do you dock your
How do you dock?
And I'm having that issue right now. I'm having that. I was going to say, I'm having that issue right now with Sea of Stars. I'm literally talking to developers asking where I go for the side quest.
The tips and tricks for Starfield is going to be lit. You going viral without making videos, y'all.
Yeah.
It's going to be channels dedicated to this game.
Yeah,
absolutely. But what I love is like the Bethesda fun is baked into it. The first and only ship I ever stole is I was like, I'm a complete evil person when I'm on land. So I'm going to try to be nice in space. So the first ship that ever hails me, I'm outside the star system, the ship hails me and goes, hey, did you know that we've been trying to contact you about your ship's extended warranty?
Yeah.
Like,
what? The telemarketers in space.
Are you serious?
Yeah. 100%
I shot
serious.
it down.
Yeah, I did.
No. At first, I let that dude rock, but after about the 5th, 6th time, I was like, nah, man, you done.
Yeah, so I did the same thing. He was like, hey, we've been trying to reach you about your ship's extended warranty. We can give you this 1,000-year warranty for this many credits. And I was like, nah, dude, I'm good. And he's like, all right, don't worry about it. We'll get you later. And I'm like, okay. So I jumped to the next plant and dude's right there. And he's like, hey, we're trying to talk to you. So I went, you know what? Your ship's mine. I boarded that ship. I killed every damn person in that ship and I sold that ship.
Hey, Nick, let me ask you a question. I'm having this problem with dead bodies still on my ship that I steal, right?
Yeah.
Are you able to get rid of them? Because you can't pick up bodies.
No, you can. You can. You can drag them. You can drag them. You can't. Yep. Again, a Bethesda game where it's like it's not explicitly told. I had to learn. Yeah, hold down the A. You can drag them.
I've
just been treating it like it's just the hood. We got like a bunch of people laying around.
Yeah, for real. Like I walk into my ship, when I get to the cockpit, I'm stepping over 4 dudes, and I'm like, they're starting to stink.
Are you registering those ships? I think once you register it, it's like a clean slate. So then they'll be gone. I think. I don't
know. I'm gonna check it. I haven't registered anything.
So if you register it, I think it'll be brand spanking new.
Feeding crew.
So they send in the janitors with the
exactly.
sweep the bodies
the John Wick cleaners.
All right, we're on the 2 hours of this.
Yeah.
we gotta wrap soon.
Yeah, we only got one more topic after this, and that's a small topic. I mean, when it comes to the space combat with me, I got to the point where I was getting so much cargo, I stole cargo ship and turned it into a fire ship. I put auto turrets on it. It,
my God.
it is equivalent to a tank floating in space. Like,
So how big is your cargo hold? Because I got one that is
it's 3 floors.
1,500.
It's 3 floors.
How much?
3 floors.
3 floors?
Damn.
Yeah, it's a C ranked.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
No,
my
I'm not where you at.
Yeah, and it shoots
different
beams.
Oh no, you're a different guy.
Well, I've gotten to the point I could show you clips of me just, you know how like on the atmosphere of like big colonies, there's like 10, 15 ships just floating around. I could I could just go up and shoot and just kill them all. Like, because by the time they take my shields, I've killed enough of them where they're not shooting me, where my shields have regenerated.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet, but I hope to be just like you. Sid.
Yeah, so when it comes to the space, I would say out of everything that the combat I had to offer, the space combat is by far the most surprising to me. I found myself wanting to be a civil person in the world of Starfield, and then I got a taste of that space combat, and I'm like, I'm gonna be a pirate. I'm a space pirate, like, because I wanted the smoke. And what's funny is, like, I was telling Carl, he's like, well, there's just not a lot of smoke going on around these areas. I was like, because you're being civil, but when everyone hates you, they smoke everywhere. All right, so
you travel that.
our last topic that we're gonna get into before we do like our outros is the atmosphere. We'll combine this with the story. We can't talk a lot about story, so I didn't want to really put like a whole thing dedicated to story. How did you feel about the atmosphere? This is a game supposed to be in space, so one would think that the atmosphere and the immersion for this game would be different than your average game. And then, talk a little bit about your overall impressions of the story. Don't go into any kind of detail, just your impressions of how much you got so far. We'll start with Nick.
Really, really quickly. I really like the atmosphere. It's really weird because, like, inherently when you see a lot of sci-fi in space, it's a lot of like generic, like, Star Wars-esque, spacesuits and da-da-da-da-da. But I really like the flavor of if you land on a civilized planet, like you got dudes rocking cowboy hats, you got guys wearing baseball caps, you got, there's variety there. I like the fact that, there's towns that felt like old Western settlements. There was towns that felt like, sleek year 3000 cities. There's a lot of environment. I do love the variety of planets and the challenges that come with those different planets. When you start talking about, dealing with, bad atmosphere, fire vents, gas, all this other stuff that you start to deal with. It's really cool and adds to the immersion of you don't really know what you're dealing with if you don't scan the planets at first. Like, I was landing blind a lot of the time, and I stopped doing that because there's planets I landed in and I was like, I don't want anything to do with any of this because I wasn't paying attention. I landed on an ice planet where I basically walked out and I watched my health meter start just deteriorating. And I was like,
you gotta
oh, okay.
scan the planet first.
Yeah, so I got into the habit of scanning the planet and everything else. But what I love most about it, basically to just bunch it all up, is the fact that the main storyline is enticing, but I never felt like the side content took away from me being in the main story. Like, I always feel like there's this disconnect when you're playing Bethesda Studio games where, like,
it's like five different stories that don't have nothing to do with each other.
Exactly. Like, I can look at my Xbox profile history. I bought Skyrim on launch day. I didn't kill Alduin till 2.5 years later because I forgot he existed. I legit was like, oh, I'm doing this. I forgot that there was a main storyline. So I literally went, oh, okay, we're going to walk through, and I slapped the dude 3 times and killed him and called it a day. And same kind of thing with Fallout 4 is like the side quests were more interesting than the main quests in a lot of ways. But I really felt like the side quests enhanced the main story. Everything built on itself in a way that was meaningful. And you never felt like you weren't doing something you should be doing. And when there was moments of urgency, it was done within a layered quest so that you were doing the 11 steps of that quest in a section, and then it's like, oh, hey, you have time to go out and do something. We're kind of at a standstill here. There was never like, we need to save the world, and then you're like, oh no, I'm gonna go pirate a bunch of ships and steal 500 sandwiches. You guys have fun with the end of the world. Like, I haven't found a point to that yet. But with that being said, I've spent way more time doing side content because every damn time I land somewhere, someone has to open their mouth and I get a new quest marker, and I'm like, ooh, I need to go over here. And it's gonna take me 300 hours to beat this game because I can't focus. There's so much side content, and it's good side content. It's not like, go here, collect object A, place object A in, NPC hand B, and your quest is over. There's a lot of interesting stuff, and there's side quests that engage you into the weapon crafting, into using all the different aspects of the game. So you can literally, as Addict proved, you can go through the entire game and not craft anything. You don't have to do that. They don't force you to do that.
I got something better for you, Nick. I don't even have a crew on my ship.
That's ridiculous.
Listen. The only thing Addict apparently did was kill everything but somebody's dog.
I never killed the puppies.
And then he had John Wick coming after him.
Yeah. But I think that's what's great about Starfield is it's like, if you want to rush through this story, you absolutely could. Like, if you're here for the main quest line and that's what you want to do, it perfectly caters to you doing that. If you more like to immerse yourself in the world, you can do that. Starfield feels like the love letter to what Bethesda always wanted to do, and like they want to cater to as many different people as they can.
Yeah.
And I think Starfield has finally nailed that, where, you want to run off and be a space pirate, be a space pirate. You want to do the main quest line, do the main quest line. You want to be a scientific researcher and go mine on a bunch of planets, go do that. They don't care. And I really love that open-endedness about Starfield in general. It's so brilliantly done because it's engaging no matter what you're doing.
No doubt.
So,
King.
I'm
sorry.
Right.
Better.
Mood. And I heard, Todd keeps saying mood. I think this is his magnum opus. And I've said this, coming into this game, I think this is his seminal. Everything that he has learned throughout the years and was able to wrap it up into a nice, clean bow as best as he possibly could, giving whatever limitations that there is with the engine that he has going on right now, and AI. I think the only innovation that he would do after this game would probably be AI and companions, right? Because he seemed to have conquered every aspect of it. This gives a feeling of Star Wars.
Mhm.
And when I say Star Wars learned how to not be over reliant on tech and digital. They have this balance of analog world and a digital world all at the same time. And it seems that Todd realized if he goes full digital, then you have to worry about robots being sentient, and then that becomes something totally different, right? It changes your game in that aspect. So if you keep the analog aspect of it, like when you go into the ship and you're hitting levers and stuff like that, but still have it digital, you keep a happy medium. Whereas you see the space launching shuttle when you land on the moon, it's a feel, it's a mood. It feels current and it feels old. When you get an old style gun from Earth and you're trying to figure out what the hell happened to Earth, what's going on with Earth, your mind can lead you down different paths, right? So you're your own author. Yeah, there's a main storyline and there's a thread that you can go follow. But on your way to these planets, people will start talking and you'll listen. If you stay quiet and you just listen, a quest will pop up because they'll talk about somebody that needs some help someplace else that's on that planet. And if you want to go to the bar and talk to the guy, it'll lead you on a path. And these are not normal paths. Like Nick was saying, these side quests have many branching tendrils and it leads through fantastic different places. I jumped from galaxy to galaxy, fixing satellites to help they weren't stranded. They just weren't able to communicate with each other. It was like fighting families. And I had to fix those I had to do persuasion to get one person to work with the other ones because one guy was shiesty, and I had to find out if I was able to trust these people. But it was like 15 different steps for this side quest, and it led me to different parts of the galaxy where I got different quests from there too, that I came back and I finished this quest. So I say this to say, it's the main story is there and you can follow it, and it's ambiguous enough that it's not a threat in the world, like Nick was saying, like, oh, Ganon is here, but I'm gonna go float over here and
Yep,
get
I'm
these
over here, go to the
Nebuseeds,
bottle.
right? Oh, the moon is close and it's about to crash into the
Yeah.
earth, but I'm gonna go collect mass, right?
Good point.
It's not like that. This is we don't know what the threat is with these things that we have to find. But we also know that there's other things in the galaxy that we can be doing, and you can join different factions, and you can join different groups, and you can go get a job. Whereas in this job, you can
Oh, I
hunt
got
down
I
people
got a
who are
job.
deadbeats.
I was getting my Breaking Bad on one job.
Yo,
I just a damn job. It's literally Breaking Bad, bro.
like, and you
Sounds
pull
like
up
you
on them
went to
like, yo,
Neon.
Yeah,
yo, I can't go to Neon.
Oh yeah,
Remember
see,
the
because y'all
settlers I told-
damn pirates. I can rock it Neon. There's things
I
going
can't
on.
Oh,
go
I
there
can't go
because
in Neon.
it's a bounty on my head because I killed those settlers that I gave the water to. But it's stuff like that. If you do something, it may lock you off to a particular part of the galaxy. Or if you go there, this game has so many different parts, so many different moving parts that the side quest becomes quests within themselves. And it's how you want to play. I just felt by talking to all you guys, all four of you guys, that everybody's played different.
Yeah.
Attic has played in a manner that is conducive to how Attic likes to play, and he has been staunch in his way. He didn't go collect book bags in Spider-Man. He just finished it from beginning to end. And it's the same way here. He decided that he didn't want to get companions. He didn't want to craft anything. I'm still level 12, and I'm still doing all this great stuff. So the game, the mood and feel of the game is old and new, but it's large and small enough in scope where when I'm playing it, I don't get overwhelmed. When I'm doing whatever I'm doing, I don't get overwhelmed. When I go into systems, then I learn the systems, I don't get overwhelmed. In the beginning, I started getting overwhelmed, and then I slowed it down to a pace that was comfortable for myself, opposed to trying to keep up with everybody else. So it's crafted in a way that I could be playing this game for years and still never get to whatever the ending is, because I have over 50 side quests that's already on my docket.
Dope. Solve your thoughts, sir.
I have about 73 hours in the game, and I'm level 16.
It's because you didn't
So
blow up
very
enough
little
ships.
story. Yeah, I didn't blow up enough ships.
I'm not even joking.
But-
Like level 60 ships are worth like 550 XP.
Yes, yes, pirate addict.
Pirate, we know this. Murder addict. Yes.
Murder addict. Genocide addict.
Genocide addict.
Hey, I wouldn't go to
Continue.
genocide addict. Don't give me that kind of brownie points.
I mean, clearly ain't nobody
Clearly.
survive anybody in your space cluster. If they move around, they gonna get popped.
They breathe wrong, they get
Yeah,
popped.
this dude right here is heartless out here.
I think for atmosphere, initially, I was a little worried about the atmosphere because when you look at previous BGS games, it's all focused on one world, right? One world where everything is sort of, if it's Fallout, if it's Oblivion, if it's Skyrim, everything adheres to a certain, like something happened in this place that everything was affected by, and all of it kind of falls under the same umbrella of weirdness, right? Here, Todd said, okay, no, every time you get on your ship and you go someplace else, the weirdness is different. But at the same time, I have to try to make that feel cohesive. And for me, it is a beautiful thing every time I get into the ship and it asks you, hey, what do you want to do? Well, walk around the ship, you want to take off. And then when you take off, there's that cinematic. And
that
I'm gonna be
grab jump.
honest, the grab jump is beautiful. The cinematic when you lift off, and then when you're in space and you go from place to place. I'm gonna make this comparison, and it may be unfair, right?
Let's go.
I wished it was more like No Man's Sky and that it was seamless, and it was like I could do all of that in real time, and it's not necessarily cinematic because it would have made the world feel that much more cohesive. But considering how big this game is, how crafted a lot of the game is, and not procedurally generated, it makes sense that you have those cinematic moments for those type of things. But I think for me, every time I land on a planet, whether it's a populated planet that you know is a bespoke created planet with cities and things of that nature, or whether it's one of those that you know is probably procedurally generated, when I land on them, you see, hey, you're going to start seeing the same type of structures and the same type of missions on those types of planets. It's like, hey, go fetch this thing over here. There might be some pirates in this structure or something like that. The structures that are on the planet start looking similar. The structures that are alike, they're literally built alike. So the layouts and everything are alike, right? And you may find one or two interesting quests on there, but it's mostly about gathering resources, trying to find a cool weapon that might be on the planet or whatever. But every now and again, you will find a story thread that takes you on a side mission to King's Point that is interesting. It's well acted. The voice acting, the characters emote in a way that I think, it's still a little weird and uncanny, but it's still more than what you've seen in previous Bethesda games, where it's like you see more emotion in the faces, and the voice acting really goes a long way towards making you feel for certain plights of these characters. So in taking all that into consideration, I go out and I'm like, you know what? This is really special, because it's super difficult to be able to create that feeling of surprise and wonder every time you land on a planet, because you don't know what's going to be there. And I specifically don't scan planets before I land on them for that reason, to give myself that sense of surprise when I land. And I'm like, okay, I land and I immediately
out of your
exit.
mind.
Yeah, I'm definitely scanning planets.
See, because of how I collect everything, I'm always prepared. I have 15 suits.
Oh my God.
20 some odd helmets. I have a lot. I'm prepared for pretty much any scenario that I'm faced with.
This guy.
So I land blindly, and every time I land and I walk out that ship, it's like, wow, what am I going to see? What's the flora on this planet? Or what's the fauna on this planet? Am I going to see a new species of animal on here? What's happening? So even in those procedurally generated moments, for me, as the type of player I am, when you think about how I play like a Red Dead, how I play a GTA, how I play any open world game, especially BGS games, it's those moment-to-moment things that define the experience for me. And I think they did a great, and I was worried about it initially, but they've done a great job of giving you that feeling of vastness. But like to King's point, when you're doing something, you feel very much in it. And even if it's a crafted experience, or if it's a more procedurally generated experience, it's still something that draws you into that world, because it's like, very light on the story, but basically this is 300 years in the future, right? And it has that future retro look that sort of BGS games are known for, kind of in the vein of an Outer Worlds, where it's futuristic, but it's old school, right? And basically the Earth, humanity had to leave Earth, right? We had to leave Earth, and now we're going out to this into space. And it is this idea of like, hey, we got what we needed from space in order to be able to live. We settled certain places, but we reached the point that we stopped. Now it's on you to continue and to find out what's out there. And that intrigue, just that thread alone, speaks beautifully to whatever the overarching story is that they're trying to tell, in addition to speaking beautifully to the moment-to-moment, very nuanced, very sort of minutia filled gameplay that the game has. And it's just, they leave it up to you. And they've always been the masters of leaving it up to you. This is your story. You're crafting it. We're just giving you the tools to do it. And they've done, from what I've seen, they've done a great job. I'd like us to talk about, when we wrap up completely, performance on all systems, because I know people want to hear about that. But I think they got it. And I'm very, again, I don't know anything about the story. I went in and I did what I do in these games, and I just clean out every room that I see. Yeah. Todd got another one. Todd got another one.
I'll jump in to follow up. This was a very interesting one for me to start off from a story standpoint, because I got to be honest with y'all. I actually was a little worried in the beginning because I didn't feel the story, how they started with me, captured me enough to know that I would want to
that happen to all of us to some degree.
Yeah, because look, I'm gonna be honest. Look, I'm a Bethesda guy as far as the Oblivion, Skyrim. Not that their main stories are not good, but the strength of their games to me has always been the factions, the side quests, and the stuff that really meets it out. And then kind of like what Nick said, like when you do main quests and stuff like that, you get a payoff and it feels good, but it's never been like, okay, I'm playing this as a linear game to do the main thing. And I have to admit, like the first 3-4 hours felt slow. 2 to 3 hours felt slow. I felt it was their baby way of a tutorial of trying to get me acclimated to some of these complex systems that they clearly got a ton of, right? So I'm like, all right. When I got to New Atlantis, then it felt like classic Oblivion, Skyrim, where things open up, people talking, questions popping. Okay. So now when I get to that part, I start doing the Nick. I start deviating. I'm like, I ain't doing, because this is a Bethesda game, and your main story gonna be all right, but it ain't gonna be why I'm here. I'm doing this. So I did all that stuff. And to my benefit, when I finally did come back to main quest, because I was like, you know what? All right, Carl, you got to do something. Like you
played for like 3 days without touching the main quest.
Sarah's like, when are we going back to the lodge?
Yep.
When are we?
Imagine being the AI trying to find this mysterious like solution, and then it's just like, we going to Mars. Like,
she was mad because I refused it. I wouldn't even meet hardly any of the members of Constellation. I wasn't doing any of that. So then I finally, after say about 25, 30 hours, I'm like, all right, God, you gotta at least see what's going on. And I'm not gonna front. Like it's King said it best. Like the way they doing it, first of all, from the amount of story I've played, this is the most polished main story they have ever done.
Right.
Where I am now, I shouldn't have been putting this off. This is really, really good stuff. And obviously, I can't spoil. I'm not going to spoil it. We're going to respect embargo. But I was really impressed. And the fact that it fit nice, like King said, because it didn't feel like, oh my God, imminent threat, Ganon is here to destroy. Because that feels fake if you're not taking care of imminent threat and you go into the club.
You got to suspend disbelief, imminent
threat.
threat.
Neon, like,
you know what I'm saying? You doing I'm stealing ships with Addict all day, right? So it's like, so that part, I would say definitely it was a nice mix. So yeah, once I got that going, the only thing I do want to talk about, that I know we're going to talk about technical stuff, but I do have to address this. This will be the rub for some people. This is a hardcore, do everything you want to do kind of game, right? It does not hold your hand. If there's things out there to be done, it could be done if you put in the work and you figure it out. However, if you're a casual and you might want to get your hand held on certain things, you could go a couple of hours without doing much of advancing anything, right? And that will be the rub for some people. Like, if you try to play this like a traditional game and say, hey, I'm just going to, look over the horizon and that's how story is going to be presented to me all the time, it may not hit you in your particular session for that day. Right? It's so broad, it's so deep, but it's one of those things when you do refine a playing style and you do find, okay, I like to do this, I like to do that, and then you start engaging in activities or you find things that supplement that, it becomes the most addicting game I have ever played. And that's when I knew the magic of Starfield was in me, because I'm like, man, I cannot stop. So that's what I just wanted to say about that. And we'll talk about the technical stuff before, but I just wanted to get that before I give it to Addict.
Right.
When it comes to this, the only thing that I'm disappointed is I feel like, the vast scale. And obviously they had to do it because you're in space, you're in the universe. They got to fill something. But I do think that hurt them in a lot of ways, because I do feel I went to a lot of planets and I just felt like it would have been better if that planet wasn't there. Now, I understand in real life it would be like that. If we went out and we found a ship and we started hyper jumping everywhere, A lot of these planets going to be empty. But this is a video game. There's got to be a good middle ground. And I feel like they hit the middle ground for the most part. I think the part that I was just a little disappointed with the atmosphere is like, and it's not necessarily the game's fault. I got too spoiled with like Mass Effect where I felt like all these different civilizations. Like I kind of expected that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? One thing I do want to point out is like, I'm a little disappointed with Bethesda for not putting more Easter eggs in the game. I've ran into some, but you got like iconic creatures that's been in, you know, Fallout, Elder Scrolls. You could have put them in this game on a random generated planet. Like imagine going into a planet, and you go into a cave, and it's what is I know it's on the top of my head. Death claws. It's a death claw, and there's death claws in like a cave. Like, look, sure. That would be a little bit out of the atmosphere thing, but it's just like that would have been a nice little Easter egg where you see like a random death claw cave or something like that. And that's just nitpicking to the degree, but I do feel like with the vast majority of stuff that Bethesda and Microsoft owns, they could have filled up these planets a little bit better for a little bit more Easter egg thing. I think, you know, we would be seeing a lot of that going up on Twitter and stuff. I gotta agree with you guys. They did it, man. You know, this, even though I have my nicks with this game, my nitpicks, I never put the game down. I had to force myself to put the game down so I can finish another game and review that game. and you know, it's good, man. It's good. I think that, you know, for the most part, the atmosphere, immersion's on point. You know, the combat's on point. The quests are on point. We didn't really talk a whole lot about it because I'm too scared of like breaking embargo or anything. But the faction quests are pretty fun too.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
It's a package.
No, absolutely. And last thing I'll say, and before we wrap, is I do want to address what Solve alluded to, what I consider the space travel controversy that I'm hearing. And what I mean by it is that one of the things that annoyed me at first is when if you're in a solar system, right? I thought I'd have the ability to, if I just set course and I go to planet Mars, I'll get there. You'll get there, but what'll happen is you're going to have to press that scanner, and then you're going to have to press the button, and then you're going to land. Or if you want to go from Mercury to Earth, you're going to press the button, and then it's going to do a little cinematic animation within the solar system that will then take you. Now, that may rub some people the wrong way who are expecting the fly anywhere, no man, sky.
Yeah, it is kind of fake
right.
exploring.
It is like a fake barrier between each thing. Now, don't get me wrong. From a technical standpoint, I understand. There's zillions of planets and zillions. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying for the casual, they may get frustrated. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't understand
a lot of starts, a lot of menus.
Yes, and a lot of pausing and the loading. Now, where the game wins me back over with that is nothing more beautiful than when you do something, go to a planet, explore, you infiltrate, you did all this stuff. And then the worst thing in the game is like, all right, now I got to go back, I got to walk my way out this base. Oh no, if you've been there before,
you can fast travel.
You press that start, you fast travel, you could go.
You don't even have to be at your ship. You can fast travel anywhere in the game.
And same thing with the scanner. You press the scanner.
You don't have to have traveled there before.
Sometimes, yeah, correct. You can at least do the jump.
You can get to the planet, but you can't get to like the locations on the planet.
Yeah,
you have to walk to those.
And I've never experienced that because I'm always encumbered.
Oh yeah. Oh, if you're encumbered, you can't do that.
I've learned that because through trial and error, like I didn't know how to jump from galaxy to galaxy. I didn't know how to follow missions. I learned just go to the mission board, click the mission, and press X to set course. That wasn't told to me.
Nope.
That was something that I had to learn. But when I went outside of those steps, it became more convoluted. It was walk over to this place, or walk out of the cave, or walk to my ship instead of press to my ship, or set course to galaxy.
Yes.
Right. So when anybody's complaining, you can fly to that galaxy if you choose. I hope you got enough gas. Like if you're gonna play it that way, you gotta have
cargo plane can get anywhere.
Yeah. See, but this is the thing. You can't fly from said galaxy to said galaxy without setting a course.
Mhm.
right? If you do it that way.
And if you have
But if you go
undiscovered
into
planets
the
between
missions,
them, you have to go to the between planets to
right?
get to them.
Yes.
You have to set a course. You have to find the course. So you can play that seafaring stuff. Anybody that's complaining about that, that's a non-starter. You can play that Mr. I want to fly the galaxy all you like, or you can hit the button and let it take you there. You can do the autopilot. When I drive on the highway and I'm going really far, I put my car on cruise control and I go that way. I'm not bothering with the pedals. I'm not bothering with the brakes. And my car has this little nice feature. If I lean too much in a lane, my car will rumble, wake me up or whatever. So again, you can do it on autopilot or you can do it manual, and it's up to you. This imaginary barriers, they are not there, guys. This thing is really, and I hear y'all flying into the planet, flying out to the planet.
Mhm.
That's cool. If you want to No Man's Sky it up and do that, Todd said that became a little too much, right? You got to land it. You got to do this. I understood that. He wants the fun aspects of space as far as fighting and dog fighting.
Yeah. And thank God he ain't put no fuel. Like, oh, I gotta go
Oh.
get fuel. Because that would have made it
that
unfun.
would would have taken the fun out of it completely.
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't get there. I
He
ain't got
did
enough.
have a good middle ground where this is a game and some realistic things will make it less fun. So let's go ahead and move on to our final thoughts. You know, do want to answer a couple Patreon member questions. Most of them I looked through them. We actually answered through them, but there's a couple good ones. But, you know, first off, King, I want to hear from you on this part.
Right.
You know, well, we've all screamed from the hill when it comes to Starfield, but you are the general king, and now you got a golden gun called Starfield. So, first off, you know, do you think this game met your expectations, and what's the future for Xbox now?
Damn, what the?
Oh, he went straight to it.
No, he wants to get the fact he wanted to get. You can't play this on PlayStation. Is this going to get you to trade your PlayStation? And it might. It might.
No,
Is this
I
gonna
meant it
hit
from a
game of the year.
with a game like this, regardless where it scores Metacritic wise. I do think it's going to be a high 80s, early 90s.
It's going to be a high 90.
So regardless where it scores, I think it's going to be a positive receiving game. With this momentum, where do you think Xbox goes with it?
This is their jumping off point. This is yo. You know the blackjack. Like when the dude walk in the room and he got the blackjack, you know how no matter where they hit you in the head of the blackjack, you going out. This is the blackjack. They got a blackjack. This is it right here. I'm so happy that Phil winning it. Phil saw when he found out that he was trying to get this game.
Starfield threw Baldur's Gate 3 for the most sold game on Steam.
Just now.
Yeah, I figured out anyway. I wasn't paying that Baldur's Gate no mind. Everybody sitting there, it's the greatest. What did it do different? I don't care. Anyway,
Messy.
I'm in space. See me in space.
No, but
So
one
back
to
to
play
the
would have sent you a
blackjack.
review code and gave you that
Focus.
They gonna
NDA.
send me a review
Starfield,
code anyway when the game coming out. This is the blackjack, and this is the blackjack you can only get over here. So, this is get down and lay. This is the best get down or lay down. Phil went over there and said, "Oh hell no, we gotta buy them." I don't care.
Imagine
what
if
it costs.
PlayStation
I
would have
don't
got that exclusivity.
No,
you know?
I don't imagine. I don't imagine. Well, what I do know is now we not playing if, ands, or buts. We ain't in that land no more. This is the blackjack. This is night time, right? So, yo, Todd, you got one, man. You got one. In a year where I thought Spider-Man was gonna have game of the year, it was gonna happen. Nope, here come Todd with the blackjack again. He on deck. This is a system seller. This is a console mover. This is a subscription service changer. When you have this game that's going to live in your subscription service in perpetuity and drop day and date, There is absolutely no reason for every gamer not to be playing this game at some point in time to give their opinion. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. I don't care about anything that anybody's talking about. This game is that game. And for it reminds me of LeBron James. We knew LeBron James was coming out of high school. All the accolades and stuff was put on his back. Was he going to live up to that? All this stuff was put on Starfield. You saw what Redfall did, and you're like, I don't know. This is God, baby. You know, stuff might happen. Nah, man. He lived up to every expectations that was set forth, and I just say it's a couple of little technical things.
Yes.
I had little
Gotta
stuff
talk
pop
about
up,
that.
bugs and stuff like that. Like my Sarah, she was floating in the sky. She was doing some stuff. And then when I was playing on my Series X, I had a little bit more slowdown there. I think it had more to do with resolution because when I was playing on my Series S, no issues, absolutely no issues. And I migrate from in between, and the saves is moving.
Yeah, shout
like
out to the
that.
Windows. Yeah,
No
shout out to
problem.
Windows Play anywhere. Yes.
Yep. So that was good. So I knew if I go over here, I could do that. I go over here, I could do that. I can just get my game, and then I gauge my games on what controls the mind share in my head. If I go to sleep thinking about the game and I get up thinking about the game, you got a winner. The game took time away from my Fortnite gaming. That's huge
Yeah, that's huge.
because
Yeah, that's
Fortnite just came out with a new season now. And it's immaculate. It's incredible. I played a couple of hours, and I was like, "Yo, I love you guys." We had just got a crown royal, and I was like, "Yo, a crown victory." I was like, "Yo, I gotta go. I gotta put in my Starfield time." They was like, "Wow, it must be really good." I said, "I can't say nothing about it, but I'm smiling. Talk to you later." This game is that game, and it's gonna consume certain people. I'm like some of my hosts here. I go in every room and I touch everything.
Mhm.
I think there's going to be people that's going to play like Addict, that's going to play like myself, that's going to play like Nick, or play like Solve, or play like Cog, and then play like themselves. But there's something for everyone in this game.
Mm.
I find it very hard to believe if a person picks up this game. If you like third person shooters, play third person. If you like first person shooters, play first person. If you like space flying, go in space and fly. The only thing that's missing here is driving a car. And
Yeah,
some mods that'll
Good
happen.
point. Yeah, we need some mods. We need some vehicles.
That's
Yeah,
it.
no doubt, no doubt. Solve your thoughts, man. This is, like I was saying, this is the big one. You know, did it live up to the wait for you? You know, what does it mean for Xbox? And your part and thoughts on any issues or just overall feeling.
Yeah, I think they got it. They got it. This is a game that it's a hard. This is a really hard undertaking when you think about it. Like these type of games, period, because you're trying to make a game that appeals to everybody. You're trying to create a game that's play style is so broad that appeals to any number of different people and how they want to play and who they want to become in that world. That's not an easy thing to do. That's why these games take a decade to make, you know. That's why, you know, you have to make concessions. We're like, yeah, does it look like The Last of Us? No, it's not gonna look at The Last of Us. Maybe not for 20 years, it'll look like The Last of Us. It's not gonna happen. But what it does very special is it creates a world for you to inhabit and do what you want, when you want to do it, how you want to do it for the most part. And yeah, there's story, and the story is usually going to be pretty good at sort of defining the world. But at the end of the day, the moment to moment stuff, the adventures that I had, they're all yours. And I really do think, to King's point, it really is the type of game where it's a hardcore RPG through and through. And there is a lot of quality of life stuff that I wish they did sort of do. Little things, I think, like when it comes to like, hey, just being able to transfer stuff from one character to another.
Yeah.
The fact that you have to go over here, put the stuff in the hull, whatever. I found that I like certain stuff didn't transfer from ship to ship, which is weird. That might have just been a glitch. Things like that. But in terms of performance of the game, this is their most polished game yet. And that's saying a lot. Like, you say it a lot for these type of games where so many factors, so many variables come into play. I'm playing on PC. I'm playing on a high-end PC at ultra settings. I also have help with G-Sync and things like that to smooth out the gameplay. The game plays very nicely, very smoothly. What's disappointing about the PC release is that there's very, very little in terms of options. There's very basic options. There's one row of options. You get FSR
PC gamers aren't
2.0.
gonna like that. I already know they're
Yeah.
gonna be very upset.
And we had a big update today. There was an update today, so I'm thinking that's the
16
day one
gigs.
update. Yeah, that was a day one update. I'm thinking, and I didn't see anything change. I didn't see FSR 3 in the options or anything like that. So, it's very basic in that. So, but again, the game ran fairly well. Although I will say this, I had about 25 crashes to desktop. Right, just freeze, crash to desktop. And I booted right back up, and then I'd play fine for the next 8 hours, right? And I didn't have issues in that regard. I had very few of the weird, Bethesda jank issues that are fun, right? Like, you could walk into, one of the funny things is that I would go see people like Sarah, whatever, or the guy, what is his name, Lieutenant Tuala, who's a part of the Vanguard and brings you in. So you meet him the first time, you have their interactions, they send you on your missions. You come back, everybody's bald.
I caught the ball head. I caught the ball head glitch. I caught that one.
Everybody's bald. I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing this. Everybody's bald.
Did you catch the one where everyone's face disappeared and it was just eyeballs?
No, I didn't get that.
I ain't
No,
seen
that. Yeah,
Did y'all catch the one with the legs? You go to a town and nobody got the legs, it's just the top.
No, see, that didn't happen.
I caught that one. I caught that one.
I didn't have. I've seen people bodies cut in half, like through the floor, right? But very, very few though. Very few. Like, this is no cap whatsoever. This at launch, this is their most polished product ever.
Did you imagine what it was last year?
Oh,
With
Lord.
No.
I know what it was last year.
Can you imagine this game without Microsoft buying them and giving them more time to polish the game up?
Yeah, they would have released it a year ago, and it would have been.
Really?
They would have been. Yeah, they would have dealt with whatever that backlash was, and then it would have got to where it is. But I think where this game is special, specifically for Xbox, is it is that game that is like, hey, for the first time in a long time, it is a system seller. Like, this is the one that's like, hey man, this game, you get Game Pass, you get an Xbox, you're gonna have the next game from the makers of Oblivion, from the makers of Skyrim, you get Fallout. Once you hear that, and the product is good, it's not a Fallout 76, right? And even then, when you think about the tail of these games, another thing that's important is that you have great games, right? You have your Spider-Mans, you have your God of Wars, you have your Ghost of Tsushimas. The thing about those games is that they have a moment and it's brief because they're very narrative based. They aren't these games that have these super long tails because the zeitgeist around them is a month or two, right? Everybody's played it, whatever. This is a game where the zeitgeist around it is literally years because it's always something, right? And the initial zeitgeist is easily 6 months because, to King's point, maybe the person is not attracted to this game immediately, then realizes, wait, I have Xbox, I have Game Pass, why don't I just try it? Oh my God, I've never been this obsessed with a game that allows me to go in, and if I love styrofoam, I'm going to pick up every styrofoam thing in this game, and I don't want to do anything else, and that's fine. So I just think the game's ability to capture the zeitgeist and hold it for a long time because of the type of game it is, and because of the level of quality that the game is in relation to all of the hits they've had in the past, really put it in a position to really, really, really take over the conversation in a way that we haven't seen an Xbox game do in a really long time, at least in a positive way, right? We had a little bit of it at the launch of Halo, Infinite, and then it died down quick. And obviously Redfall didn't do what we wanted it to do. But this is it. This is
it. Did what it wanted to do.
Yeah, it did what it. I think it's still doing what it wants to do. But I said Todd and the team got this one. They focused on what they do best. And I was worried about this, Todd saying, you know what? Oh, I'm just going to do bigger and more, right? But he did bigger and more in in a way that only their expertise can allow them to do, which is okay, bigger and more, but it still has to feel coherent and important and part of this one universe. That when you're doing something intimate, it feels intimate. When you're doing something broad, it still feels like it's manageable, because again, it all feels like it feel beautifully in this one umbrella, right? And I said, they got it, man. They did it. I haven't had a chance to sit down and play 75 hours of a game in so long. And, you know, the opportunity to sit here and do that, and then to want to be there and do it. When I looked at the count, I was like, nah, I didn't do that. 75 hours? What? And
those planets take a minute to walk around, especially when you don't scan them before you go into them.
Nope. I am collecting those resources by hand, sir. That's what I'm doing.
That's right.
That's what I need. Hey, we need Todd. We need a Mako DLC. Let's do it.
Facts. We definitely need a Mako. We definitely need a Mako.
But yeah, yes, I really do think it has the potential to be a game changer, and it's a very, very good game. And we've only skimmed the surface of it. I don't think anybody here has finished it, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Nick. Let's get your impressions as far as worth the wait, final impressions, and you know, what does it mean for Xbox going forward? Good, bad, the whole nine, and then I'll end after you.
Look, I've been playing Bethesda games for a long, long time. I did a little like history digging for the sake of it, and like I got 24 days in Fallout 4.
Ooh, wow.
I've got like 14 days in Fallout New Vegas, and probably at least 30 days in Fallout 3. And I didn't even want to look at my Skyrim hours. I was on probation when Skyrim came out. I don't want to look at what those numbers were. But the thing is like, I've been playing these games a long time. And the hardest thing when you're a Bethesda fan is getting people over the hump. Because you got to tell them, like, the game's really amazing, but like, you just got to get past the bugs, all the systems, and the janky combat. And now with Starfield, I really feel like all I got to do is be like, hey, once you get past the first couple hours of systems, you're going to have a great time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, hey, you're going to fall through the planet like 9 times. You know, your gun's going to go backwards. You're going to drop stuff. You know, it's going to be a terrible like performance experience. You're going to, you know, drop down to 13 frames when you enter a house. You know, it's none of that. Like, as much as I love Skyrim at launch, that game was an absolute disaster piece at launch. And like, I played it on PS3 originally, and like,
oh no.
And like, I switched to 360. That was one of the things that made me go, you know what? I think I need an Xbox, because this ain't good. This ain't.
They
good.
ran better over there for sure.
Yeah, but overall, what I've enjoyed so far about Starfield is that it's vast, and it makes me sad because I don't have the time that I used to have to put into a game like this. Like, when I was playing, like, it really blew my mind because like Fallout 76 came out. I try to forget Fallout 76. I still have 100 hours in Fallout 76. I wish I could forget them. But but like, when it's amazing how much of a journey it's been for Bethesda, because I was sitting there thinking about, like, Fallout 4 came out in 2015. Fallout 4 came out when my daughter was born, because I remember when my daughter was born, and she's my first, she would sit on my lap while I would play Fallout 4, and I'm playing through it and just having a blast. And, you know, I'm a father for the first time, everything else. And now I'm playing Starfield. I've got my son, who's my third kid now, who's sitting on my lap while I'm exploring this world. And it feels generational almost. And it's really cool to have those kind of experiences to link back to a game, and that's been that much of a journey for them, because like, in my mind, they went from Fallout 4 to Starfield. We're just gonna pretend Fallout 76 there.
Okay, that should not be named.
Like, the thing is like, if you play Starfield and you play Fallout 76, you're gonna realize a lot of these systems, a lot of the things you guys love about Starfield was fostered in Fallout 76 in DLC and add-ons. A lot of the updates to Fallout 76 are core mechanics now in Starfield that they test trialed in Fallout 76. And I love that they had a game where they can fool around, play with it, get player feedback on what their fan base actually wants to
Learn
play.
from failure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm glad they had that learning curve.
I am
And-
never gonna forget. They said that we not gonna let you know what's in the bag just by.
Oh, you talking about, yeah, I remember that
never gonna
DLC.
forget that.
The full
They
on
said they had
DLC.
a season pass for like $100. Microsoft said we gotta buy y'all. Y'all wildin'.
Continue, Nick.
But I think the main thing, if you want to make an Xbox takeaway from this,
Yes.
this is quality. That is the thing that people have been wanting from Xbox for so long: consistency and quality. Now, consistency is going to be what the next game that Xbox releases looks like. So that's going to be Forza Motorsport. We'll see shortly how that looks.
Mhm.
But the thing is Starfield is Microsoft helped publish a polished Bethesda game. I need people to understand.
Mhm.
Good point. Good point.
Polish and Bethesda game don't go together.
Yeah, I love
For real.
Bethesda. I've been a fan for 20 plus years, but like polished Bethesda, those are not side by side things. Like that is not something that is common. And I'm glad. I hope going forward that this is the quality that they deliver. I was playing on Xbox Series X, so my performance, obviously, the 30 frames, like I
Mhm.
would love for it to be 60 frames. Obviously, if you're playing at 30 frames, you're always going to wish you were playing 60 frames. That's just
Mhm,
a fact
of
of
course.
life. Period. End of story. But with that being said, I appreciate the fact that I could be in a spaceship or in space fighting all these people and everything else, and my frame rate's solid. It's not
Yes.
dropping, it's
Yeah.
not dipping.
Yes.
I'm not shooting
Yeah,
lasers.
it's
and
definitely
watching
one
them
of the better 30
fly.
frame games I've played in a
Stable.
long time.
Yeah.
Very stable.
The only frame rate hiccups I had was
Let's
in the
go.
cinematics when I was leaving a planet. And to which case I was like, I didn't really care because it was like I'd have like frame rate stutters when leaving a planet. I'm like, that doesn't affect me at all.
Mine was when the train, I get off the train or something.
Oh
or-
yeah, yeah.
I was
Like,
that's
why the train doing that? Like everybody else is fine. And this is
It
small
happens
little.
on
two-
on my rig too. It's just
Okay, like
I
it was
guess-
like a 2-second cinematic. I was like, why?
No,
Okay.
No, the worst one I had is everyone's arms getting replaced by their legs coming off.
Oh, I
nah, I had nothing like that.
No,
Okay,
I came out and I turn and look, and Sarah's beside me, and her legs are up where her arms
Oh,
are supposed
no.
to be.
It's like
Nah.
Hereditary.
And she
Nah.
had no arms, and I'm just like, I need to reload a save back.
Yeah. Now the worst I had, Doran fan loaded in and he's standing on top of the table in the ship. And I'm like, Fan, why is you up there? Like, what is you doing? He just stood up there talking to me. But continue. Sorry.
Yeah, I had the same couple of ones. Like I had Sam Coe for me was
Mhm.
the roach of my adventure because every time I turned around, he was on top of my damn spaceship. I'm like, dude, get down. Like, what are you doing up there? But like the thing is those kind of bugs, it's something I talk about a lot in a lot of the reviews I write. There's bugs that bother you and there's bugs that you'll find funny. And you like frame rate, performance bugs, screen tearing, lighting issues and stuff like that. That stuff isn't inherently funny, but AI's glitching out, an arm disappearing, all of a sudden someone catapulting into the sky. I stabbed a dude in a city, and for some reason he catapulted. Like it was standard
launched
gravity
him.
and everything.
That
else.
happened
I
to me
stabbed the
too.
dude.
It was on a ship though. Like I went to board something, and I guess it glitched out, and it like threw my ship in the air. Like it was so far up, I couldn't see the ship that I was trying to board anymore.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and like my favorite ones, we were talking about the melee guys that run at you, and this guy
Yeah.
comes barreling around a corner of me. He goes, he's barreling at me. I'm trying to pull out a weapon, and he fell through the floor and disappeared. I was like,
Oh, wow. Oh, you having an experience.
Yo,
I'm-
I had none of this. Yo, and I'm not capping. Because if I did, boy, I recorded what I did and I showed you guys.
Yeah.
Automatically deleted it because I don't want that thing to get out by mistake. If I ever encounter something like that, my review will be a completely different review.
So I guess with me, it's just like it's a great game, man. They did what they supposed to. Todd Howard delivered for the majority of the expectations that I had. I would say that Starfield met the expectations that I had. For the most part, there were certain things that I wanted, like a little bit more filled world. But even with that, It's little things at this point. Like the amount of fun I had being a space pirate was way more fun than the nitpicks that I had. And as far as Xbox, I think if anything now, they need to look forward and they need to be like, Hellblade got to come out, got to be quality. I don't care if we got to delay that another 6 months. We can't go from Starfield to another like mid-range between Starfield and Redfall. Like quality. We don't care how long these games take to come out. They got to be quality because you got to get yourself in that PlayStation mindset where you're going to give the game a chance just because of the record.
Yeah, no, well said. Well said.
Old PlayStation.
My final thoughts is, look, everybody knocked it out the park. I think we've all been pretty fair as far as our assessments on what the impact of this game is and all the things you can do, how broad the game is. And, for me, look, I'm going to always be the hardest on things I love. And so I've always been that way. When it's something I truly care about, and I grew up with these games. These style games are like the soundtrack to my gaming life, and just having the ability of sheer scope to do anything. And I have to say, I love this game. It's very addicting. It's very when I knew I cannot stop playing it and stop thinking about it and what I'm going to do when I come back. That's when I knew Starfield had its hooks.
You know how a game knows when I'm trying to sleep and I'm thinking about what I want to do when I get on it.
Exactly. How could I have done that better? And it's just so much to it. And look, is it perfect? No. Of course, there's some flaws. We've all talked about it. There's a little technical jank here and there. But to Saul's point, yeah, it is saying that it is their most polished game, considering all the amount that I would say I didn't see anything for my first 15 hours or so. I was like, oh, wow, this is really positive. I haven't really come across a lot of the jank. The 30 frames actually surprised me. I thought that would be the issue that would bother me the most. And it played smooth. The boosting around, the moving around, the shooting, the combat. It didn't feel, again, it was just the consistency. I didn't feel like, damn, this is really hurting my experience.
Sometimes it felt like that sucker was running at like 45 frames, I swear.
For me, the only time is where I agree with King is when you go to like what I would consider the Citadel, New Atlantis. You go to, and then they have the cyberpunk level of NPCs on day-night schedules, and everybody's at a place where they want to be, and you got to catch this. That's when I said, okay, I could see this. I'm moving at 30 here. Here I'm moving 30. But when I'm doing missions and I'm out of that particular area, I didn't feel that way. So yeah, I think this is going to be the thing with this game. This is a great game. The issue is going to be your mileage will vary based on your experience and what type of gamer you are. If you like a true hardcore RPG, you're going to love this game. Right? You're going to absolutely love it. If you want
a true tutorial not in the game is going to hurt it too.
Yes, the onboarding, they have to do a better job to keep that casual in.
I explained that process to one too many people, like 5 people.
Yes. So if the fault to this game will be a casual who is overwhelmed, doesn't know all the things he could do, and let's be honest, we will say this, even though we are impressed by this game and the scope and how it looks and everything, we're not going to say that this game is pushing the levels of graphical fidelity past gaming. This is not that type of game. I'm never going to go there with it. So if someone's a nitpick and be like, oh, we waited all this for this, and you're not understanding the true scope, it may be a good game to you or an average game, but it may not be a great game to you. But if you're a fan of hardcore RPGs, pure scope, and to what Addict says best, and King, in the sense that we're just used to playing Bethesda games, let's be honest, on the ground, in a world. When they add this space aspect to it, and you see the depth of this space and this frontier and all the things you truly can do, it then almost becomes 3 games in one. Yep. And then it becomes how you want to play this third aspect of the game that literally addicted them. A lot of people you got lost in, right? Yep. So that's the beauty. And the last thing I want to say is kudos to this story, man. Kudos to this story, because I never thought that's the last thing I thought.
It's a shame we can't talk about it more.
I know, because I want to just give them their flowers. This is one of the best mainline stories. If you're a guy that doesn't want to do that, you're a casual, maybe you want to focus on that, because during that period, it'll onboard you and you can really get wrapped in to what they're doing. And this is Todd and the team's best in that respect. I didn't expect that from them. I'm like, wow, I thought this is going to be some generic, get an artifact, whatever. But let me go join this faction and do this. No. This is a complete game. And for Xbox, look, they got one. We're not going to take this moment away from them. This is a big game. It should drive a lot of engagement. And, I'm very curious.
This game by itself was worth Bethesda.
Yeah, listen, this is a game that it's curious that the Game Pass deal for $1 is over now.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Right, the timing of the release is very interesting. Shout out to Microsoft. I ain't mad at you. Look, this is going to be a game that's going to keep people involved for a lot of hours. And last point, the future content of what they can do with this world and the things they can add. We already talk about Molly. We already talk about Makos. We already talk about the things you can do with this vastness is really going to be special. And I'm a guy that hasn't even done Outpost.
And it's
haven't
not
even done
not even DLC.
See,
like when you think about a Starfield 2 and where it could turn into the biggest of space operas ever. Yeah. It really could. So it just thinking about where they can go
is insane. It's insane. So yeah, it's Skyrim, it's Oblivion, it's Wing Commander, it's all these things, and how you choose to tackle it and how you choose to enjoy it is going to be your experience. But I thoroughly enjoyed this game, and shout out to the team. I think they got one.
Yeah, so I think what we're gonna do, Nick, you can take off if you want. We're gonna just answer a couple of these questions. We've answered the majority of these, but I do want to answer a couple of them. All right, JD. I closed the poll 5 minutes ago, but I'll give you your question. So this is from JD Gamer. Probably the most important thing is it really looking like a game of the year, or are we looking at a game of the generation? What do you think it puts in either category? So just put make it short, because obviously we've been doing this for a minute.
Soft.
I would say game of the year to start. I'm not far enough to see a lot of the wow factor that some people are talking about, that some of you guys have alluded to. So for me, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the BGS-ness of it. So it's definitely a game of the year contender. I don't know beyond that, but I'm enjoying what I'm playing.
King?
Both.
Okay.
I think it's gonna get game of the year, and I think the tail of it, the fact that it's inside Game Pass, is going to form a generation. It's going to this game draws clear battle lines. Like either you get down or you lay down. It's just it's no way about it. I see people still crying right now. Is this coming to PlayStation at some point in time? No. Is God of War
Say
coming
with
to
the chest?
Xbox? No, it's not. So when y'all want to come up off of Spider-Man and all that other stuff, y'all can come up off it and we'll think about that. But
we think about
go buy
allowing you to enjoy this fun.
Go buy a Series S, because this is game of the generation, and this is going to be game of the year.
We got D-Walk. Can you have kids?
Game of the year.
Sorry.
I have it more of a game of the year right now, but I need to finish and do more before I make my determination on game of the generation.
And I agree with you guys. Game of the year, I don't know about game of the generation yet.
Right.
I gotta see how the
DLC
plays out too, because I feel like that always carries over on if this game could be a game of the generation. Okay, got a DC Walk. Can you have kids? I don't know. Do you guys know? I just shot people. I didn't try
I gotta get some cheeks.
I just shot people. I didn't shoot my shot. So
yeah, I haven't gotten that. Nor did I pick the big kids perk or whatever it is.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to the buns part of the game.
Yeah. So, I mean, I flirted. I flirted.
I gotta get to the naughty by nature.
We got
the hot coffee.
The hot coffee. Yes.
It on my ground. What's Starfield's hardest difficulty? And what is that force called we saw at the ending of Starfield Direct? Okay, we can answer that first one, but that second one, we can't talk about that. So what? I think it's just hard, isn't it? Starfield
think
has
it's
a
just
hard.
hard. I mean, I have it. On
It does
over
have a
here,
new
but I
game
don't
plus
think-
though, and it did
Th-
say we were
yes.
allowed to talk about that. So
Really?
No, we're not allowed to talk about it.
No.
Just that it exists. That's
That
it.
exists. Yeah.
no, that's what I meant. It does have a
Okay.
new game plus, but
Yeah.
we're allowed to talk about the new game plus, like that it exists.
Yeah.
We got Mighty Mellow. How many Easter eggs are in their Starfield? Can we expect to see a fight of Ricky and Morty? Is there a radio on the cockpit? Oh my God! I said one. Do you have an air horn? Can you pet the alien wildlife? Can you name your ship? Can you apply decoy?
yes.
Okay.
All right, you went crazy. I'm gonna pick one thing. No.
Yeah, for most of those, like you can name your ship. I don't think there's a radio. Obviously,
Can't
no
pet no
Ricky and
animals.
Morty stuff.
There's no petting alien wildlife. There's some wildlife that is not aggressive. Some wildlife is.
Well, I see
Everything
some
was-
real National Geographic
We
joint
can't
going on.
answer all those questions. You're giving rise to the wild question asking. You get one question, that's it.
Right.
No.
Rambling Entertained. Which is your opinion of the best Bethesda studio game is up to now? Me personally, I'm between Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. New Vegas doesn't count yet because Obsidian made that. I would say Fallout 3 is my favorite. Well, I don't know. Skyrim or they're all so good. It's hard to pick. What do you just pick one? Favorite one.
Old
Favorite?
school or everything?
Just your favorite Bethesda software game. I'm gonna say Skyrim.
I'm gonna say Starfield.
Okay. Soft.
Yeah.
Soft.
I
Starfield?
think- yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll say Starfield, then Fallout 3, and then Skyrim.
Skyrim, but damn, I ain't gonna lie, Starfield is so good to me. Like, I feel it. I just don't want to. I don't want to speak out of turn until
I gotta
do
finish that story.
I gotta finish certain
Yeah.
things before. But I will say, it's in that mix, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in that mix. Yeah.
So, Sunomatopia, I butchered this stuff. Does Starfield hold a candle next to Mass Effect? I think Starfield has better exploration, better immersion, but not a better universe. That's my opinion. What do you say, King? Yes or no? I'm sure you can answer that yes or no.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So,
It's different. It's different. This is about humanity. We're not seeing anything about other races, planets, or anything of that nature. So it's Starfield. Mass Effect is already a space opera. Starfield is kind of the beginnings of that.
Yes. Good point.
So,
So-
put it up against Mass Effect 1.
yeah. Okay. So,
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you go on
Yeah.
Mass Effect 1,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you giving a totality. You're giving a
He tried to even the playing field. He tried to
that's
even
right.
it.
Alright, Colin.
That's all you gotta do. You can't put 3 games up against one. Put one game up against
Yeah,
one.
I
Mass
feel
Effect 1 versus
I
this.
feel that. I
Talk about a
feel that. I feel
linear
that.
game versus an open, super open
Yeah.
game.
It is. It is. It is in some ways apples to oranges.
It
They
is
are
that.
different
Alright,
games.
Colin.
They are
Yep.
different. It just what. Look, I'm a Mass Effect guy, so this is hard for me to say, but it's just two different type of games. It's one is a linear game and one is
Pick
an open
between
world
your
game.
kids, bro.
Pick between my kids.
Yeah.
If it's Starfield versus Mass Effect 1, Starfield all day.
All right, there we go. And
all
we
right,
out.
all right. So this one here, we've talked a lot about our experiences between first person and third. So we're not going to say that. I want you guys to pick first person or third. In
First person.
Starfield, do you play
In
first
this?
or third?
Third.
Third.
The first one
saying
that I,
first.
Yeah.
the first BGS, game that I prefer to play in third person,
Facts,
and
'cause
it
the
works.
The other BGS games was frauded to me in third person.
Yeah.
This one is serviceable, completely doable, and gives just one from COG
Energy.
hashtag just one energy in that mode. And I'll give them that, even though it's not a hashtag
So-
just one game, because it starts in FPS. But I'm saying.
Lucius Augustus said Phil said that Starfield felt more like Oblivion than Skyrim. As a huge Elder Scrolls dude, I'm really hyped, but I enjoyed the interactive between the systems more in Skyrim. So to Cog, who is more of an Oblivion guy, do you know what
Yes.
Phil meant by this, and how do you feel about that? Do you see the hints of Skyrim? Okay, we will talk about that at another time because that's not even
Yeah.
about Starfield. Like, we've been doing this too long, Lucius.
Lucius, that's the homie. It is more like Oblivion, but the systems are just so much deeper than anything, in my opinion, Skyrim's doing. Starfield just has so many systems. It's so
He was
much.
saying what compared Oblivion or okay, now I get what he was saying. Yeah, I'll agree Oblivion.
Yeah,
I thought he
Oblivion.
was asking us to compare Skyrim to Oblivion.
Oh no.
Solve.
Yeah, I played Oblivion so long ago.
Okay.
I don't know specifically what Phil's talking about.
King wants out of here, so we're gonna move on.
No.
He ain't got to go to bed.
Yeah, fun
King has to go to bed.
speculation. King, just go ahead and head out, man. We'll finish this. There ain't
We'll
that many
finish it, bro.
questions left. Just head out.
There's
you
any
gotta sleep.
questions pertaining to me?
That's true. All right, let's let he here for the marathon. So let's
All right,
finish it.
Starfield is the most important fun speculation. Starfield is the most important Xbox release since blank.
You got to go through what point in time they're at.
Yeah.
Coming after fumble after fumble. You're coming after Master Chief not hitting critical acclaim. You're looking at them being third in the poll, and they're on the cusp of doing great stuff. So you want to build momentum. Game of the year, a game of the year game, or a game of the generation game builds that momentum. This is probably the most important game since Halo.
I would say Gears 3, the Gears franchise.
I would say.
We didn't know what Gears was.
We
See,
didn't know what
that's-
Starfield
that's-
was going to
that's-
be. Though.
That's the only reason why I'm gonna give you pushback, because we know.
I love how you need to go to
build
bed,
up-
but now you good.
Now you ready?
He's like, hold up.
It's just the fact of the nature of the question. The question,
I feel you.
where does this lie, right? Microsoft needed to land Halo in order to be an
Exist.
Xbox.
Facts.
Microsoft must land this.
Correct.
If you don't land this,
It's in trouble.
that's it. We didn't know
point.
what Gears was. Gears just popped out. And
Good
we was like,
point.
oh, that's a happy surprise.
Good point.
Right? So it's as if Redfall would have hit, a happy surprise. It's a Hi-Fi Rush, a happy surprise. We can go on and make franchises out of that, right? So Gears 2 really established that. But this game has to hit. If this game doesn't hit, it's questions in the building.
Yeah. No,
So-
I'm sorry.
Yeah, this hits.
No, I'm with King completely. I think we've known about this game since 2013 as they were working on something different from Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and it's what he said the best, King, is that it had the LeBron James effect. It was supposed to be a star before we even knew it was born. So the pressure this game had coming in was way more immense than any other Bethesda game. So for them to even succeed and have a great game, yeah, I have to say that he's right.
I think for me, it's the most important game since the last game that came out. and I
You
say
only
that
had your
because-
last album.
and that's the thing. Gamers are fickle and have very short-term
course.
memory. Because this game could take over the world, and if the next one is mid, all of that is forgotten. So and the cycle continues. So I just think the good thing is that it points them in the right direction for consistent quality. And to me, that was the most important thing, and they nailed that. Because another subpar game, to King's point, you
facts.
start questioning things. Does it break them completely? No. But you really, really start questioning. But the hardcore not going to go anywhere anyway. So you just have another opportunity to try to get it right the next time. But yeah, I don't think it's that dire, but. It's always good to have great games.
Yeah, great games always help.
Great games always help.
Ultimate deodorant.
Let's Necromancer, is there a big difference between PC and Xbox Series X versions to playability? There is obviously the 30 frames, but I will say that the Xbox version ran pretty well. I played both. I played Windows
difference.
and I played.
I'm gonna be honest with you, King. I'm with the addict. I played both, and the jump wasn't this degradation when I went down to the X Series X and S like I thought it would be. And I'm like, oh, this is.
I can't wait to try it on the console because like I said again, on a 4090, obviously. It's
and you
super
played
crisp.
on Steam. We got to make that
Yeah,
clear.
playing on Steam.
we all
I'm
played on
playing-
something different.
Right, and I'm playing a 3070 on Windows Play Anywhere
On Windows
with
Play
the
Anywhere.
save data, and I'm going back and forth, and I'm
I
like,
played on the
yeah, this is
3060
nice, but it
Ti.
ain't. Oh my God, this is blowing away.
I just
How is the
hate
frame
when
rate on the
people
PC
put-
version?
It was
put
good.
up
It was good.
a $5,000 machine up against a $500 machine.
Yeah, it's different. It's
You
not
gonna
the
get
same
what you
thing.
paid for.
Facts.
So
But
if you able to play it on the PC, see you later. If you this is where you got, this is what you got.
King,
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, Series X and Series S performance is very impressive on this.
No,
Yeah,
I only
wanna see
played it
it.
on Series X and Series S, and in my opinion, Series S is outpacing it because
And
I
like
guess
stability.
Series S, it's just what it is. You understand? Like maybe it's just certain bells and whistles that I'm not seeing that is
Right.
on my X,
Yeah, I hear
but
you.
I know the
Time.
resolution is higher. I hear you, Sadik.
Yeah, and mind you, without G-Sync on the PC, I was being beastie with the settings, but I wasn't hitting 60 consistently.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. That's what I'm hearing. It like there's no DLSS as
So
well.
this is
No DLSS, just
procedurally
FSR2.
This is
Yeah.
to procedurally generated content. Hideous to the game, or is there enough handcrafted content for it not to matter? So they're asking, did them making that many, 1,000 planets, some of them are handcrafted, some of them aren't. Did that matter in the long run to you guys? I would say to a point it did, because I felt like there was a lot of fluff in the game, but that was intentional because you got a universe, you got to fill it out to a degree.
Yeah, I like the fluff. So the fluff works for me.
Yeah, Mr.
After a while, you
going on a planet. I'm sure you love.
After a while, you love to. After a while, you do see the seams though. You start to see the same type of structures, and you go in and be
the
like,
same
some will
rock
be empty.
formations.
Formations. You start to see that on those procedurally generated planets, but they each have their own biomes. So the weather is different, stuff like that. The animals are different. I don't know how vast their library is and how they cycle those in and out, but I've seen differences on every procedurally generated planet that I landed on, except for the human-made structures.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think for me, it didn't bother me like I thought I would be bothered, because once King kind of put me on to what I would call emergent events, things landing on a planet, wildlife fighting each other. And I'm watching in the wilderness like it's National Geographic with the aggressive animal race versus the passive animal race. And it became No Man's Sky to me. So I'm like, oh, this is National Geographic. I'm gonna scan here and then I can get some materials. But yes, I understand that for some people, they're not going to care about that. But for the explorer and the guy that wants to play that way and get those resources and do all that stuff, it's there for you, man. It's there.
all right. So is it my name is Mud? Said, is it really as polished as people are claiming? Yes, it's a very polished game.
Yes,
There's definitely bugs, but I came across one game breaking bug where I had like a faction quest that kind of malfunctioned a little bit. But besides that, in a big game like this, the only real big things I had was like I would have to reload a save because I got locked into something, or someone's face disappeared and there's only eyeballs. Like that's all. And we're talking about 65.
That's the Assassin's Creed bug.
We're talking about 65 hours of gameplay, and that's all I came across.
Yeah, I'm on Steam. Like I said before, I had about 25 crashes to desktop in 75 hours.
Shout out to Steam. Shout out to Steam.
In 75 hours. But again,
I don't know if King's talking about this next question from Mayo 5. Can I walk in a line? Can I walk in a straight line more than 640 minutes? Talking about coming out boundaries. Look, man, everything got boundaries. Every PlayStation, every Xbox game, nothing is limitless. It's not Minecraft.
Nothing is limitless.
Minecraft isn't even limitless. There's still an end of the map.
Know. I'm not gonna sit here because I saw some stupid narrative online.
Yeah,
I don't know. Do you walk the earth? Have you walked the earth? How many hours would it take for you to walk from New York to California? You let me know how many days it's gonna get there, and you let me know if there's a boundary to your legs if they pop off. I mean, it's so idiotic with a lot of stuff. It's invisible walls. Walk from here, and I'm a time you. Walk from New York, from where I'm at, to California. Get you at E3. Get out of here.
You
These
gonna
people-
get tired of walking long before you
Yeah.
hit an invisible wall.
That's
You know
the
what I'm saying?
barriers.
But
That's
you
the
know what's the
blockage.
irony of this quote unquote criticism is these are the same people who didn't want procedural generated planets. These are the same people who didn't want any of that type of it's fluff. I want refined, but now they want to sit there and walk from New York to California and mad that there may be an invisible wall in Montana. Like, come on, like what are we doing? And then the last thing I will say is they give you like multiple spots to land on the planet and pick like let's
That's
not-
another thing.
Don't fall for the banana in the peel tape.
You can pick your own spot to land on the planet. 100%. You don't have to land
100%.
where they tell
Go
you.
wherever you choose.
So-
But
Yes.
tell me, I'm just sick and tired of these dudes talking about can I walk from here to there? You don't do it anyways. Stop it, man.
So we got Stitch asking, could the game benefit from 60 frames, or is 30 frames good enough? Obviously, it can benefit from 60 frames. I think we can all
Everything can
agree
benefit
on
from
that.
Yeah, everything can benefit from 60. A solid 30. And again, I want to experience it on the console. I haven't yet, but like I said, on the PC, it wasn't really sticking to 60 without help. So yeah, but 60 is nice.
All right,
Of
so-
course, 60 is nice.
So Eden Haynes says, how disorientating is it to fly in space? Being in space was the worst part of No Man's Sky. Did Bethesda do a better job of it?
Oh no, let me jump in.
yeah.
This is the best. Oh, their space is so good. Once you just get over that, you got to flip the switches and you want to bring your engine up, bring your lasers up, and don't do the car. Trying to run
Accelerate,
from
not
people
accelerate.
and you not accelerate and don't do the cog where you don't have no meter on grab jump and you trying to get out of town and you
And you're like,
wonder
why
why
you
the
can't?
pirates is still on you and you not grab jumping to the next hyperspace. Don't do the cog.
Cog
So
is the
make
king at making games harder on himself
for
from
no
his
reason,
own
yeah.
self.
I'll be Dark Souling myself. I was
Yeah.
like, Attic, what did you do? He said, you got to have one of the meters on the grab.
On the
Don't-
grab.
Don't think that you're gonna bypass this title by playing No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
All right, just don't.
No,
do it.
no, not at all.
Don't
Now,
do that.
different
They-
experiences. Like I said, for me, it's the fluidity of the fly up in space, whatever. I
Yeah.
wish this title would have that, but again, it's still they're two different products. It's
They're
just
not
me
messing-
wishing. It's just me wanting like everything
Of course,
from the best
everything
space
in one,
games
of
all
course,
together.
all together with it. But
Right.
we gonna give Starfield that ship combat.
Yeah,
we
good.
gonna get that. They ain't nobody rocking with them on. This is Wing Commander Server. This is that.
That's what
joint.
I was looking for.
Yeah,
Alright,
no,
so-
we gonna get them they flowers.
So Lion Master said, how is the conversation system compared to previous Bethesda games? We pretty much answered that. It's
Yeah, we
pretty
answered
decent.
We did that already.
It's more robust. The voice acting is very very good, excellent. Especially big main story stuff, but even side
Then-
stuff, man, the voice acting is really good.
And
Really good.
Then we got Taper. He says, ship and base building looks kind of tedious. Will I be missing out if I skip on those things? I have really not built too many ships. I've done nothing on base building. I've just added on to ships, like, added like another wing so I could put more guns. For the most part, that's all that I haven't touched it to that degree. And I've still got 60, 70 hours in the game. So I think you're good.
Yeah, I think end game stuff is there. I personally am going to do more ship building because I want to have a research station and all that stuff on the ship to do so I don't have to go. Okay, he's laughing. And the outpost stuff I feel is like end game. But yeah, it's there for you if you want it, but you don't have to do none of that.
Yeah.
Black Ronin, can I traffic drugs to the galaxy communities and will my parents approve?
Okay,
You-
so this is where we're done at, and y'all just went left with the questions. I gotta get up and go to work.
Yeah, contraband is in the game, and you
Let-
do
let-
this
let-
at your
You're
own
gonna get
risk.
caught.
All right,
You're gonna get caught.
Let me get these two Patreon questions because we did not answer one. I would just answer
All right,
part
cool.
of this. Good evening, Lords. Cheers to you all. I look forward to everyone having a stellar time. Type of time. What are the game of the year? What are the chances? What is the naval gamer? What are the chances we encounter a black hole? I didn't encounter a black hole the whole time I played. I don't know about you guys. Sidebar: how bad are the zone haters are tweeting about, aka the invisible wall? Well,
We
King
talked
literally
about
just
that.
talked about
We
that.
talked about that.
So we can just move past on that.
Okay, what was the last question?
Good evening, all. I know the game is going to be great. My question to everyone is, what is the one mod you want to see in the game? For me, I would want a Halo ring. And
Ooh.
quest on it. It would continue the Halo story. Long shot, but could happen. I would say mods. They're definitely putting a Halo ring in this game. Like,
Yeah, mods are gonna make this game extra special. But for
A
me, like this,
rover.
the rover
Yes,
for
Rover,
sure.
Mako,
Give me a
Mako.
rover so I can drive from here to
Facts.
California.
Absolutely.
So I can
and hit that
obliterate your-
wall.
Hit the wall. Hit the
I
wall.
can obliterate your fake walls that y'all putting up.
so that's where we're ending this, man. We went over 3 hours. How are we doing ILP just for Starfield talk?
No, we're not doing this no more. And listen, let me tell you, I was really nice tonight. I'm not doing
I
it
know.
again.
So
Shout out to King. Thanks Bethesda for the code.
yeah, that's what I was literally about to do.
Bethesda.
I want to thank Bethesda personally. You was able to let us all have a conversation, and we really ain't never done that before.
Yes.
Yeah, we will have to start pushing for that more often. I think we all really enjoyed. No, I'm gonna be strong arming these days.
It's funny.
Well, maybe we edit this part out. That's fine.
We edit that part out.
Nah, I'm
Let's
not
edit that.
editing nothing.
But listen, just a tip for everyone: save frequently. Use that quick save. Use that quick
You will
save.
learn. You'll be
learn.
sorry.
Once again, shout out to Bethesda for providing all 4 of us a code. We
this
will
is great.
see. There will be no IOP the week that you get this because we will be in PAX West. But when we come back, we plan a pretty stellar show for the Metacritic scores of Starfield. But I appreciate everyone for coming through. Cog, Solve, and King, you guys got anything to say, or are we just gonna click the record button?
Look, thank you for the opportunity, Bethesda. Again, we can't wait for everyone to get their hands on it, listen to our impressions, see if they agree or disagree. This is definitely one of those games, one of those zeitgeist moments that everyone should be a part of. And I'm looking forward to the discussion. I think this is great. It's good to be back with my brothers, and it feels good just talking games again. But again, shout out to Todd Howard, shout out to the entire team.
They did it.
You can see the labor of love. You can see for the hardcore RPG lover, the person who truly wants to see the great frontier. There's a lot of stuff here, and can't wait for everyone to get their hands on the game and their impressions. And the Xbox, again, salute. This was I see why he went for the acquisition, and these are the type of games. Those are those generational type games that we will continue to talk about, and these are the games that I love. These are the type of games I love the most. So salute, and Solve King, y'all have final thoughts.
Yeah, shout out to Bethesda for providing the codes and allowing us to talk about it as a team. Again, I just love the fact that all these different perspectives at the same time. I think it's a unique way to talk about, and kind of review a game. So thank you for that. And yeah, I'm excited for everybody to get their hands on it because this is a game where
I'm excited.
everybody's story is going to be different.
Afterwards.
Everybody's story is different, right? Everybody's experience is going to be different. And that's just exciting around a game like this. So I'm super, super amped just for day one to see the excitement for people to have it. So thank you again.
King.
Thank you, Bethesda, for making me a beta
For
boy.
making him an NDA dude.
A beta
NDA
boy.
dude.
NDA dude,
Beta.
I'm a beta boy. I'm down. Normally I don't get a chance to be up late night doing this stuff. Usually I'm in my bed sleep. While these guys is all willy nilly.
Not me,
your
not
service.
me. This is new for me too.
But,
Usually it's being addict, but we appreciate both of you.
I get to say this. This is the inflection point. This is the point where you have to sit down. You're gonna look at your console. And you're gonna ask your console if it's performing. This is it. This is the moments that you have if you're gonna jump ship. If you're gonna come on over because the water's fine. This is game of the year type stuff.
The grass is
Game of the
indeed
generation.
greener on the other side.
The game of the generation that's left to be determined. But as far as this year goes, hands down, better than anything I've played so far this year. And I'm talking about RPGs to anything else that I've played. This is a monster. This is a beast. Is it a graphical powerhouse? When you take in totality what it's doing, it's an animal that you just can't contain. So, thank you, Bethesda. I cannot wait to see what people say when they get this game in their hands and get a chance to talk about the story later on when we're not under embargo and we can talk about factions and stuff like that. We did a hard 3 hours, pause.
3.5.
For this game,
I'll let
I
you
would
know.
gladly, stay up and talk about this because I think this game
Well, we
needs
put
to hit
65
hours.
plus. A lot of us did, so 3
Mhm.
hours to talk about it seems about right.
Yeah.
Addict.
And like I said, appreciate the review code. It meant the most to me that we could all experience at the same time.
Yes.
And we have more coverage for you guys. Cog and Solve and King doing some stuff here soon. So
Oh yeah.
appreciate
Stay tuned.
everyone, and we're gonna close
Yeah.
out. The Iron
Shout
Lords
out
are
to
out.